And hello again, everybody. Happy Thursday. It is another beautiful Thursday in San Diego and in Plainview, New York. It is also already episode 17 of Press Row, your front row seat to all things at the intersection of sports, business, media, and culture right here on ETB, as always presented by Playback and now brought to you by the Novik Sportsbook. That is Nick Morgeson joining us from Plainview, New York. I'm Cal McClurg here in San Diego, and we've got another packed lineup of topics, takes, and deep dives ahead. As always, ensure that you're following us on social media on Twitter, IG, and TikTok, all at ETB Network, and smash that subscribe button over at youtube.com/ETB Network. And let's continue to grow past the 1,000 subscribers. And of course, ETB is proudly brought to you by Playback TV, the real-time fan-first experience where you can watch games with us, react live, jump on mic, and connect with fellow sports diehards from the NBA, Major League Baseball to soccer, all happening here on Playback. Sign up for free now at playback.tv and never watch sports alone again. And we're also brought to you by Novig, America's #1 sports prediction market, available now in 35 states, including California, Texas, Florida, Georgia, and New York. On Novig, you are 10 times more likely to win long-term compared to a regular traditional sports book because you're playing against real users and not against the house. Sign up today and use the promo code ETB Network for exclusive sign-up bonuses when you do sign up. Nick, so much ground to cover, so little time today, my friend. Great to see you as always. I know we were up late last night or early this morning, cooking up something nice when the new year does hit for some late night entertainment, perhaps. We'll see what comes out of that, though. But of course, Nick, it's our favorite show of the week, I would probably say. Great to see you as always, my man. How are we doing today?
Trying to keep a voice. That would be number one. But no, I'm good. This is a good show. There's a lot of controversy involved in this show. What episode of Press Row is not involved in controversy? And also, it's not going to be WNBA fully drama for a change. But I'm looking forward to today's show, a 3-hour extravaganza from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific, wherever you are around this great country. But before we get to the number one story, Christy, there will be some WNBA drama, just not as big as some of the stories we're going to discuss.
Not like it's been for like the last 16 weeks, thankfully.
But I can't believe I'm going to do this, but we have to start with a wee woo breaking news.
What? We got to go wee woo to start the show?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
So we got breaking news right off the top of the show, and it's from Andrew Marchand.
Dun, dun, dun.
So according to Andrew Marchand, Netflix will be the exclusive home of MLB's opening day next season, featuring the Yankees and Giants in prime time.
And as a quick reminder, I think too, Nick, it's a standalone game. There's no other game on March 25th when the season does start, I believe, if memory serves me correct.
So, reading off the story here, Netflix is stepping into live sports in a major way. Actually, that's kind of false because they're already doing that.
We're already established.
With Major League Baseball handing the streaming giant its opening day spotlight. According to a report in The Athletic, why can't they just say Andrew Marchand? But whatever. Netflix will exclusively stream the New York Yankees March 25th, 2026, which, by the way, is one of the earliest opening days I can remember in quite a while.
Opening days getting earlier and earlier and earlier now every damn season.
And you got to be careful because of the East Coast. Because of the weather.
This game is in San Francisco, but still, Northern California gets a bit of worse weather than where I live in Southern California.
So they're gonna take the ownership exclusively of the Yankee Giant game in San Francisco. The primetime matchup will serve as the first game of the season and the streamer's first live MLB broadcast. It is the only contest scheduled that day, with the rest of the league opening the following afternoon. That's normal. They do that every single year. The move is part of a reported 3-year rights package between MLB and Netflix, which we already heard those rumors. I forgot who that guy was. He was from Yahoo, who kind of broke that story way before everybody else.
Correct.
So the 3-year deal is expected to be announced in the coming weeks, with the league declining to comment. Okay. I hate when leagues do that, knowing that we already know the news.
Who are you fooling?
Yeah, sources told The Athletic that the deal will also give Netflix rights to the Home Run Derby and a share of MLB's showcase regular season games at special locations.
So that would mean if they play it like, I don't
Iowa,
know, Iowa, Mexico City, probably, as the
actually,
Padres and D-backs will do.
it says it here. So it says it includes events such as the Field of Dreams game.
You want to have a catch?
Exactly. Uh, MLB at Rickwood Field.
That is the game where they were playing where Willie Mays broke into the minor leagues in Alabama, I believe.
Yes, I think you're right. And the stupid MLB Speedway game, which got rained out.
I'll be eager to see who they put in that game next season.
Let me just make sure. So Fox Sports, which previously carried those games, may retain some event broadcasts moving forward. The deal comes after ESPN chose to opt out of the final 3 years, which, by the way, there is some conflicting on that report now that ESPN might be back in the fold, even though Carl Ravage did the most awkward sign-off of all time on Sunday Night Baseball.
Yeah,
Is just saying, for the foreseeable future, this is Sunday Night Baseball. I was like,
why would you even say foreseeable future? It's so stupid.
So Netflix is officially in the fold with Major League Baseball. So I guess my question is, I don't want to say are we surprised because we knew this news already, but I don't know if I like this deal for Major League Baseball with Netflix.
I'm very torn on it because I think that a lot of people are still kind of scarred because of the Tyson Paul fight problems. Now, obviously, that Netflix has learned from those early mistakes, but also like, okay, that's what, 3 events. So it's like it's the standalone game, it's the Home Run Derby, and then the Speedway Classic,
The specialty games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So three games out of a however long season with all the
162.
games.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it's kind of like a nothing burger. It
You,
feels like to me.
you want to know, this sounds like desperation by Major League Baseball to get
I
another
agree.
partner. And like, I'm just reading some of the, because they say the exact financial terms for the new agreements are not known, but sources tell The Athletic that the combined MLB Netflix, and obviously we talked about MLB and NBC Peacock packages, are expected to land in the 225 million to 250 million per season range, which, by the way, that's small potatoes compared to other leagues.
And
But
by the way, if NBC does snag the Sunday Night Baseball package, Nick,
they're all year.
not just that, the stupid Sunday leadoff games go back to Peacock at 9 a.m. Pacific time or 8 a.m. Pacific time.
I wish they would do away with that game. I really do. It was bad enough they had it on Roku. And by the way, Roku was paying what, like $10 million, I think, for the year. That should tell you right there how insanely desperate they were just to get any money for that.
Yeah, I just don't quite get, Nick, where things are going at this rate, because I just kind of see right now that, I think, Nick, that we said, though, a while back that it kind of felt like that baseball had cold feet when it came down to the whole. But like I said, though, really early when the show debuted, mainly about the fact that look again at where ESPN has gone. It's now full-fledged NFL 24/7, 7 days a week, where it went to my point of like they being ESPN see your product as an afterthought because you're not the NFL or the NBA, and there's no direct link other than just, Sunday Night Baseball. They had, the postseason for a while. I think they have them for one more year this season with the wild card rounds, I believe. And now all of a sudden, and let's also, Nick, remember that we heard the very phony baloney remarks by Rob Manfred and your boy back in July. I want a deal done before the All-Star break. Did that come to fruition? I don't think so.
That never happened. I think that was him being bullish a little bit and saying, look, if I put the words out there, maybe the teams and the owners will cooperate, which we all knew was never going to happen at all by any means. And by the way, I just want to point out another thing also for the Yankees' sake. So there's a report out for next season. The bulk of the Yankee games will still be on its regional sports network on Yes, and around 20 local games on Amazon Prime Video.
Why?
Well, that they've had, because Amazon owns, I think, a portion of Yes, I think, or I think Prime does with Fox and all that stuff. They all own a piece. It says it will also have national games on Fox, ESPN, TNT, Apple TV Plus, which I think that's a mistake. NBC Peacock, and now on Netflix. Too many platforms.
It's just like I wrote too in my Mr. Small Market Substack about how the NBA is following the NFL model for national television now.
Well, I think MLB is finally realizing that they came to the party too late, and
they let every other league surge past them in some way, shape, form, or size when it came to media deals.
But this deal is stupid. You're going to put opening day exclusively on Netflix when most people.
It's just one game too. It's just one game that's going to be there.
And I was listening to radio as I was driving around today, and people are praising, like Stephen A. Smith of all people was praising.
This is the greatest deal of all time.
Well, no, he was praising Rob Manfred, saying he's doing a good job.
Yeah, no.
And I said,
Christy.
what?
I agree with Christy, though, too. Opening day on Netflix is ridiculous.
But I understand if that was like a money thing, even though, first of all, if the two deals are combining for $225 to $250, that means they didn't get enough for exclusive games. Because if this was the NBA, like the NBA Cup, I don't know which is that shared or is that
NBA Cup was shared between ESPN and TNT, I believe. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, I think, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday.
I think it's NBC and Amazon now.
Now it's on. I think it's all on Prime the whole way.
Oh, is it? Well, I guarantee you, Prime paid a lot of money under their deal for that. So I don't know. I'm not happy about this, especially as a Yankee fan. Number one, because I have Netflix, but it's the principle here. Like, I have Amazon. I could technically watch every Thursday night football game if I wanted to. But here's the problem. If I have to turn on Netflix or I have to turn on Amazon, what does that stop me from doing?
Flipping channels.
So you could bitch and moan and say, well, the leagues are going to say, but it's a good deal and digital is the future.
It may be the future, but still, it's not really moving the needle for people.
Especially Major League Baseball.
And as we've said, that is a dying breed of sports fans right now and a dying game right now, sadly. But we'll talk more about that later in the show. And
the last thing I'll say, because we're going to talk more baseball, is this is a money play. This has nothing to do with make it better for the fans. Because if you want to make it better for the fans, put it more on TV, not digitally.
Exactly. All right, Nick, let's get into the meat and potatoes now of today's program. This story, Nick, kind of not really blindsided us late last night, but the Chicago Cubs' playoff chase has now been complicated in a way by rookie third baseman Matt Shaw, who missed a recent game versus the New York Mets to attend a memorial service for his friend, conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Shaw, who initially told Batima it was a family emergency, revealed that he and Kirk were good friends from living in the same apartment complex in Arizona and bonded over their shared faith. However, though, Nick, in wake of the news, though, longtime SNY Mets broadcaster Gary Cohen made the following remark on the air. I believe, Nick, you have the audio of this here.
Yeah, let me get that set up as we're sitting. I do have it. It's a little over 2 minutes, but it's important that we listen to the audio because you and I were discussing this the other day, and Gary Cohen crossed the line in more ways than one. So listen to the audio. We'll discuss it. Okay. So I have a lot of issues with this. Okay, let me just take this off first. But
yeah, I was going to say, Nick, but the comments that were made have now sparked a debate about the obligations of pro athletes to their teams versus personal beliefs and commitments. But also, Nick, to your point from last night, it also questions whether or not announcers should ever comment on a player's personal obligations, especially when Gary Cohen himself missed a game this season due to his own similar situation. So with that, Nick, was Gary Cohen's critique of Matt Shaw's decision fair, or should pro athletes' personal commitments always take precedence over a single game, even during a playoff run? Now, I know, Nick, that I gave you a very weird comparison based off an ESPN 30 for 30, and this was a different set of circumstances, obviously. Deion Sanders at one point was playing NFL football for the Falcons and was on the Atlanta Braves when they made their run to the 92 or 93 World Series against the Toronto Blue Jays. And he had obviously missed a game because the Falcons were playing and he could not get back to Pittsburgh or one of the two, one of the three. And Tim McCarver, legendary catcher, old school guy, longtime baseball analyst. Him and Sean McDonough had a field day tearing apart Dion during the 92 NLCS, where, again, we know that Dion, of course, found McCarver and dumped the water on him after the game was over when they clinched to go to the World Series. This, though, here's a bit of a different sort of ordeal, as I don't know if that was Keith Hernandez or Ron Darling or Jeff Zeal.
Todd Zeal.
Or Todd Zeal. I mean, yes, Todd Zeal, who he's working with. And hearing it firsthand, though, that Todd even said, hey, in my day, you never got time if your wife was in labor. You never got time if your mom or dad or your brother passed away. You showed up, you played the game, and then you went back to, go back to what you were doing, back when he played. Now, of course, obviously, all the leagues have bereavement, paternity, you name it, so on and so forth. However, though, Nick, I think, though, you're right that this does cross a line that I don't care if you're Gary Cohen, Sean McDonough, or you're Nick Morganson or Callum McClurg. You don't go to that kind of a level when your job is to worry about the game. Now, yes, is it a sidebar story because a guy leaves in the middle of the playoff chase? Sure it is. This could have been handled, though, Nick, so differently. And I think Gary Cohen should have known better that, in a way, this is borderline hypocritical because he missed a game because his dog passed away earlier this season. So I know, Nick, you have a lot of thoughts to get off your chest, though, but where do you stand on this whole entire ordeal?
This whole thing is ridiculous. Number one, I get we talk about sports and politics, they mix, even though I really think they shouldn't. But who the hell is Gary Cohen during it's technically a local broadcast, but you could hear this broadcast now nationally everywhere. Who is he to say what Matt Shaw's personal decisions are? And who is he to bring it up on a broadcast for hundreds of thousands, millions of people to make a direct judgment on?
And here's my other thing, though, Nick. I mean to interject, but here's my main gripe, though. Why is the opposing team's booth even commenting about a player on the opposing team that doesn't even wear the blue and orange of the Mets? That was another gripe, though, that I told you about on late in the evening on Thursday and Wednesday, is that, I know that the Mets are usually number one, number two, top five in the AA voting for the best local booth 9 times out of 10. But I do recall, though, and this is the whole Mr. Small Market persona I'm going to give you, sadly, is I recall that a couple times that Cohen and Hernandez and Darling would kind of needle the Padres about how they would celebrate hitting a home run. In a way, it's how the Latin American game is played, where the guys actually show their emotion. Whether we like it or not, this is a whole thing that these guys do. And now we see, I think, more often now, Nick, where guys are no longer really afraid to hide their emotions. Again, I know that I kind of, rebuked about Soto doing the whole Incredible Hulk, flex when he hit that home run against Cleveland, last playoff. I'm like, hey, you play for the Yankees. I don't have any rings on these fingers because the Padres haven't won shit. But still, you need to remember that when you play for the Yankees or even the Dodgers, you need to kind of keep things in line. However, though, Nick, this also led me to my thoughts about Bob Brenly, longtime
Arizona
D-backs manager, World Series champion. But I know that he's always had this Padre grudge because Ben Davis, now current Phillies color analyst, bunted to break up a Curt Schilling perfect game in San Diego in a 1-0 ball game. And ever since that day, he's had this 25-year iron fist, I hate San Diego mantra, where he even made disparaging remarks, too, that were borderline racist about Fernando Tatis Jr., where he said, if he took that damn bike chain off of around his neck, he would actually run faster when he would leg out a triple. So, again, why even bother, Nick? Interject and talk about the opposing team in this fashion. I know it's a local broadcast. It's the Mets. It's this. But why is this an issue when it's not even with your own organization?
First of all, there's a lot of no-nos that we heard in that commentary, because I wouldn't even call that a play-by-play broadcast for about 2 minutes.
Exactly.
Gary Cohen was not even focusing on the pitches that were being thrown. There was a whole strikeout, I think, in that
he missed a whole play and missed, I think he nearly missed 2 full plays because of him ranting.
And first of all, stop. When you say, I really don't want to talk about politics, what do you think? What do you think people are going to assume when you say that? You're talking politics.
Oh, you were talking about the politics.
Yeah. So, and I happen to like Gary. I think he's a really good broadcaster, but he dropped the ball on this one really bad. And who are you to go after somebody for grieving when you missed a game to go grieve for your family's dog passing away? Like, hypocrite much? I mean,
Where's the lie?
and you know what? The Charlie Kirk story has caused a lot of controversy across sports and entertainment. And we're going to talk about that in a little while also. But I think Gary Cohen needs to be suspended. Like, I really do,
Okay.
because I think there's a difference between, like, when they talk about stories of players and how that goes. And some people were pointing out to me that it was a 5-1 game. Was Gary Cohen looking to fill time? I don't
Yeah, I
care.
said that. What are you talking about?
Oh, did you say it? I
I
don't
said that
remember.
last night. I said, "Hey, 5-1 game. Game's kind of maybe getting away from the Mets or away from the Cubs. What really, where does your mind go?" Like I told you, Nick, that sometimes my mind can wander too when I'm working college soccer, for example, or that. But at the end of the day, you still don't make these kind of remarks on the air, especially when it's about the opposing team on a local
But
broadcast.
that's the conversation you decide to have to
Yeah.
fill time, that you're mad at an opposing team's player for going and grieving, apparently a close friend, and they lived in the same neighborhood and they knew each other.
On the
Uh,
same apartment complex.
right. And the other thing that Gary fails to realize, the Cubs gave him permission to go.
Yeah. Just
So
because it wasn't told to you does not mean that the Cubs didn't tell Matt Shaw, "Hey, you're allowed to go."
if it would be a whole different scenario if Shaw was not given permission to
And
go.
win against the ball club where that's the only avenue, Nick, where that actually works out, is that if, say, the Cubs say, it's like any other job, you get denied PTO and yet you still take it. What's gonna happen?
Let's see, and not to mention Shaw was invited. Oh yeah, Jim makes a really good point, and not to
There you
mention
go.
Shaw was invited by Charlie's wife. I did. That's a really good call out right there, because I saw that come out afterwards that she personally invited him to come. So, and you're going to say no to that? Hell
Yeah,
no,
like,
you're
how do
not.
you? Give me a break.
So I don't know. You've done play by play. I've done play by play. I told you a story where I was calling our women's basketball team was really good at the time at LIU, and our best player on our team was gone for a month, and I was not given an explanation. And I found it's not the same as this. Let me be clear about that.
Yeah,
But
just like my comparison about Dion playing for two different teams and two different sports is not the same comparison, but I thought it was at least along the same lines
yeah,
because we had announcers attacking the player for what they were doing.
so when I find out it's an academic violation, they don't tell me that I can't run with it. I got in trouble for discussing it, but that was told to me with no holds barred. Like, it was I was told basically I could go with it, and that's a different scenario. This is attacking somebody for grieving. Like, I- it's all over social media. Like, Gary Cohen and his dog. Like, everyone is pointing it out. Like, and like there's a lot of responses that have been all over social media, which I'm trying to find. Like, some people are saying a boycott. I think that's a little too far.
That's a bit much.
Um But people are saying, like, Gary Cohen needs to know better as a broadcaster.
Again, like I said, you would think that a guy who's been around for so damn long would actually know better.
Like, I don't know what you do in this scenario, because it looks bad for SNY. It looks bad for Major League Baseball. We've already had one scenario where a talk show host was removed from the air due to insensitive comments. And then so much for indefinite suspension because he was back on the air on Tuesday. But
Only in certain markets, though.
that's true. But like, I'm literally like looking up Gary Cohen's name, like, and it's coming up everywhere. That's bad. When your name comes up everywhere on social media, that is not a good thing. And I want to play one more piece of audio on this too,
Go ahead.
because, and let me just make sure I have the right one. So normally, I am not the biggest fan of Gio, for Boomer and Gio. But Gio hit this one 1,000% on the money. So listen to what Gio had to say, because he absolutely attacked the crap out of Gary Cohen.
I quite frankly didn't like his commentary, and I'm not going to now dislike Gary Cohen over it. He's a great broadcaster. He's been a part of my life for a long time. I thought it was completely unnecessary, and it just felt like, Gary Cohen's whole life is baseball, and baseball is a very serious thing for him. But Matt Shaw saw his friend get shot and killed, got shot in the neck in front of his family, and his wife requested that he be there. And Gary Cohen's got a problem with that because the Cubs are in a pennant race? Like, have we lost all touch with reality here?
Well, some have.
Like, I mean, it doesn't fall under the MLB's bereavement policy. Who gives a crap? If he wants to go to that, he can go to that. And don't be mad at him. If you're mad at anything, why you're mad, why you care, I have no idea. But be mad at the Cubs who granted him the ability to go.
The Cubs supported him 100%, by the way, because I saw the interview with him, and he was talking about how he was friendly with Charlie Kirk because they lived in the same area, and there are a couple of pictures of him and Charlie Kirk together. And of course, if Erica Kirk is reaching out to him, I mean, what are you supposed to do? So it was swarmy, 100%, but it is what it is. And he went, and it didn't hurt anybody. And he went and honored his friend, and he felt a real conviction to go and do that. And nobody should have a problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, and also, when you say, I don't want to get into the politics of it.
You get into the politics with it by saying that.
Like, Charlie Kirk was a political figure. I mean, there's no two ways about it. So you're bringing that up because of that. Now, let's say we didn't know who Charlie Kirk was, and Matt Shaw was friends with somebody who got shot in the neck and killed in front of his family. Would Gary Cohen have a problem with that because he doesn't know the person who got shot and killed in front of his family? Or is it just because Charlie Kirk had a political platform that Gary Cohen disagrees with, so now it's weird that a baseball player goes over there?
I just think I think what you have to do is you have to put yourself in the situation at hand, that if it were one of your dear friends who got shot and killed in front of millions of people, including his family, and then his wife reaches out to you to come to that funeral, what would you do? If you were Gary Cohen and you were in that situation, what would you do?
He'd probably go, well, are we in the middle of a pennant race?
But that's the point. Like, you have to put yourself in that situation.
Okay, I think that makes the point. But I'm not the biggest fan of Gio at all. But he nailed that one 1,000,000,000% right there. Come on, man. Like, what if that happened to you? You see broadcasters always running out of the booth for a family thing when they can't make a game. It's a terrible situation. It's Charlie Kirk.
Here's my rebuttal to Gary Cohen. What if Matt Shaw's wife was in labor? Oh, he's in the middle of a pennant race. Why? You're going to go and have sleepless nights now when you're in the middle of a pennant race because the wife's in labor.
What
Give me
about
a break, Gary Cohen? Good gosh.
What about if a family member died, not a friend? Like, I mean, I'm sorry though. Like, and I know it's going to be an unpopular opinion, but Gary Cohen should not be allowed to broadcast any Met game the rest of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah,
because come on, keep the politics out of the booth. Like, and people are going to tell me that I'm like doing the LeBron shut up and dribble nonsense. Like, first of all, the LeBron situation had nothing to do with a live game and a situation of death.
correct.
That just had to do with what his political opinions were. This has to do with grieving someone who died that was a close personal friend invited by the wife. It's a different scenario. So this isn't shut up and dribble. It's keep a personal situation out of the public eyes so someone doesn't get affected by it.
And like I said, what would anybody say if Matt Shaw's wife is in labor or his mom or dad passed away? Would have been the same, oh, we're in the middle of a pennant race, really? Like, please.
The pennant race comment is ridiculous. That's all I can really say.
It's an easy out. And like I said, it kind of, in a way, It's not the same comparison, but again, McDonough and McCarver, Dion's going to prioritize playing an NFL game over the NLCS. Like, stop. Come on now. Nick, in segment 2 here, this is actually kind of another stunner, but in a major move in the sports world, longtime ESPN anchor and one-time ETB guest Stan Verrett has now joined the LA Clippers broadcast team. Verrett will serve as the lead pregame and postgame host for the team's broadcast on FanDuel Sports Network SoCal, replacing the longtime host of Jeannie Gogo Zelasco, whose contract was not renewed by FDSN as part of a sweep of ongoing layoffs. And Verrett will also have a new daily show on the collection of RSNs around the country. Verrett wrapped up 25 years at ESPN and now has since launched a new podcast with his longtime SportsCenter co-anchor, Neil Everett, and is one of the latest high-profile talent moves in the to a non-traditional outlet. The shift also comes as the Clippers begin year 2 at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California, signifying a continued effort to elevate their local media presence. So, Nick, what does the hiring by the Clippers of Stan Verrett mean for the future of regional sports networks that's remaining still, and the trend of on-air personalities leaving a legacy media network, much like ESPN?
I mean, put this on the list of successful people once they leave ESPN.
Check.
I mean, first of all, just for update's sake, Stan did like our social media post that went out when we tagged him in for the show today.
Love it.
Stan's a really great guy. I think that unfortunately he kind of got caught up in the end of whatever happened at ESPN. Neil got lowballed. That's why he left first. And SportsCenter LA was never going to be the same without those two
for sure
being together. Don't get me wrong. I like Nicole Briscoe and I like Michael Eaves. Don't get me wrong. But first of all, it's not even in LA anymore. It's in Bristol. They moved it. So now they're doing like 1 a.m. sports centers live out of Bristol, which just makes no sense whatsoever. But Stan is very successful now. I mean, he got the Saints digital gig first. Well, actually, let me take a step back. They announced the podcast first. That's how we got him on the show.
Correct.
With Neil. And by the way, I've watched a few episodes. It is hilarious because that's who they are. That's who they are. Yes. He told us like this is the show that we had in the newsroom before we went on SportsCenter. Then he gets the Saints digital gig, which he can do from anywhere. Then this news gets announced that he's going to be the Clippers TV pre-post, and I'm assuming probably halftime too.
I would think so.
And he's going to join the Golics in doing a national show in a sense on his own, I guess. So take that, ESPN. Take that in your pipe and smoke it, because ESPN still has this reputation that going all the way back. Oh, you can't leave the 4-letter network. Your career will never be the same.
You can't do that.
Oh, really? Look at
watch me.
Look at all these people who've left since. Look at Dan Patrick, who's getting ready to retire soon, but was on Football Night in America for many years, has his own syndicated radio show that runs by himself, which is also, I think, on Peacock and networks and stuff.
I think he's on iHeartMedia as well, I want to say.
Yeah, Fox Sports Radio affiliates. I don't think he's hurting. Just going to say that now. Look at Rich Eisen, who eventually ended up back at ESPN. But
full circle moment.
But that's like a McAfee deal, though. He controls everything that goes on with the radio show, and it's on Disney Plus, and it's on ESPN Plus, and the D2C platform. He's in control. So, what does this mean for the hiring of respective talent for legacy media? It means it can be successful and not have to stay in one place for your whole career. And digital media is helping careers be more extended, because when radio and TV gigs were done, you didn't have another avenue. The only time you heard the word podcast was because there's a weird formulation. Originally, podcast just meant the show after it was on for the day. That was considered the podcast for the live radio show. Correct. And I had to do that. I used to pull that when I worked at WABC for 4 years. All right, pull the audio so we can make a 1 hour best of podcast
hour
or whatever.
1, hour 2, hour 3, all that stuff.
I'm very used to that for nationally syndicated shows and local shows. But now there's a difference between the podcast that comes after the show and a podcast that's a podcast, meaning
Exactly.
you're doing it on the side. So that's extending careers because you have more control over what you do.
I mean, I'll be very frank though, Nick, that and not even with the FanDuel Sports Network like rebrand because Bally's had their problems.
Well, they died. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they basically died. But even like dating back to the Fox Sports era with FSN West, Prime Ticket, the Clippers have never really had a sustained pregame, postgame, halftime staff. I mean, you had Ralph Lawler and Ralph Lawler forever as the voice when they were in San Diego. Then they went to LA, in '84. But even during the transition of Fox Sports to Prime or Fox Sports and Prime Ticket to Bally and now to FanDuel Sports Network, it's been a revolving door of not just lead hosts, but analysts. Like Corey Maggette was there for a long time. Then it became, Jim Jackson has been there for a long time when he's not doing a 3-man booth with Brian Seaman and whoever else. And even like Christina Pink and Jamie DiMaggio and Zelasco, it was always a revolving door from game to game to game.
Mike Hill.
Yeah, Mike Hill was there at one point. So hopefully this will mean that the Clippers, away from another thing we're talking about later in the show, that they can at least have some kind of stability when it comes to pregame and halftime and postgame, which I know is just so hard now because Christina Pink, I believe, is moving to Amazon Prime Video to handle sideline reporting duties and stuff like that. But it'd be nice if they were able to just get one season where there is just where it's not a revolving door of different personalities. And I also think that the Lakers are losing Allie Clifton to either Peacock or Prime
Amazon.
as well.
I think
So
Amazon.
We'll see what comes out of that. Yeah.
You're bringing up an interesting issue, which I think I've talked about this before, is there's really no more local teams in that regard. It's more about taking the locals and turning a lot of them national. So when you look at the national landscape, you're looking at the top, I don't know, would you say 5, 6, 7, 8 national broadcasters that really do this well, and they're now spreading them across the 3 or 4 networks that are, excuse me, really doing the work. For instance, like you say, like an NBA where they have Amazon and they have Peacock or NBC. They only have 7 or 8 that really need to do the job. And then they're taking the national people and putting them on the local affiliates now too, because they have names. So that problem is never going to be fixed. It's going to go the other way. And what's happening is they're snatching local people and putting them on national broadcasts because they don't really want to hire from without.
Yeah, and maybe it's cheap deals, but I mean, who knows what the payday is going to be for Verrett now to do Clipper games on FanDuel Sports Network. So we'll kind of see though how this whole thing does play out over the course of the NBA season.
Well, because you brought up Christina Pink before, she's doing the NFL on Fox, and now she's doing NBA on Prime. And if I'm not mistaken, I think she was doing Clippers also.
She was doing Clippers, yeah.
I'm wondering if that gig is going to go by the wayside, though.
I would think so. I would think you would have to pick probably national over local, just because I mean, who knows what the paycheck might read every 2 weeks.
But that's the misconception I think sometimes forget. National does not always pay more.
True.
People think that like when you get a nationally I know this just from being inside the walls, producing a syndicated radio show. You have to do a lot more work to get paid to be a national show, a national radio show, a national TV show. You have to gain affiliates. You have to gain TV affiliates, radio affiliates. You have to build national sponsors. It's more work. When you do local shows, that's why Mike and the Mad Dog was the most successful sports talk show for almost 20 years. Because number one, it also helped they were in the New York market. But number two, huge audience, huge perspective. And Mike and Dog both said many times they were offered syndication,
And they
and
turned it down.
they turned it down. And I didn't understand it at first, but Mike made and Mike doesn't talk very well, but for this instance, Mike actually made a good point, saying we have a huge audience in New York. Why would we go national? There's no point.
Yeah, why would you do that and risk what you've already built?
And you can still talk national stories. It doesn't stop you. You just got to be New York focused in that regard. Now, it's kind of ironic because Dog ended up going national once he left FAN to go to Sirius, but I actually think that ended up working out better for him because he's such a open personality. That's why, even though I don't watch First Take, I love the Mad About You segment.
Yes, that is always a good one.
You have to admit, like, even though First Take is a sham, like that one segment, he makes people smile because he talks about some of the most ridiculous old people things in the world. Like,
he's definitely old man yelling at the clouds.
And that's what I think makes that segment funny. And that's why he was great on MLB Network too, because he would just like scream about the old fashioned baseball. Or I love when he makes the Bob Cousy references in the NBA still. Like, and people are saying to him, like, what? And I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean you don't know who those guys are? So you only have a group now of 7 or 8 featured sideline reporters, and you have, I don't know, I'm thinking for each sport. So NFL, NBA, you probably have like 5 or 6 each that do the games. I mean, what I think is going to happen in the next couple of years is I think local's going to disappear.
Agreed.
I really do, because
especially if this whole thing with ESPN getting local TV rights for baseball next season.
I still don't know what that means, to be quite honest. Like,
no idea.
I don't think anybody knows unless they're going to take because sometimes they used to do this on ESPN Plus, where they would air game feeds like on their platform, and it was a way for coverage, or like ESPN3, or like you would see all these weird national games on there. But unfortunately, what this Stanford, to kind of circle it back, the Stanford situation is more of, it has nothing to do with local anymore. It has to do with who's a big name that we can kind of wrap our arms around and make that following happen.
Without a doubt, and wishing Stan all the best with the new endeavor he's embarking on with the Clippers coming up in a few weeks. Nick, to the other hot talking point of the day, but of course, sports media personality Rachel Nichols recently weighed in on the controversy surrounding both Disney, Jimmy Kimmel, and also the NFL in the wake of the announced Kimmel indefinite suspension from his show following his monologue about the death of Charlie Kirk. Nichols did suggest that Disney may now have to choose between its new valuable NFL broadcast deal and its high-profile late-night host from California. Now, while Kimmel was eventually reinstated earlier this week, though, ABC stations that are owned by Nexstar or Sinclair have preempted his show, highlighting the ongoing tension by showing local news blocks instead of his program in the time slot. So, Nick, with Jimmy Kimmel's show still being preempted by some affiliations, is her suggestion that Disney's NFL deal could be at risk a valid concern? But what does it also say about the power of live sports to influence a media company like ABC or Disney?
Well, first of all, I have a massive issue with this situation because I think Rachel Nichols is a hypocrite, number one, because she got in trouble with Disney, for most people that remember, because she was kind of hobnocking with the NBA players inside the Disney COVID bubble, which I think that's a problem in a situation where you need to say, look, where is this statement coming from when it comes to this process of how do we handle it? And again, this is a political versus sports debate. And I think Christy said it well. I'm just one of those people who believes that sports and politics are like oil and water. So the way I look at this is a lose-lose situation. Sorry, 1 second. But the Jimmy Kimmel situation, there's no win or lose in this situation whatsoever. Jimmy Kimmel said a horrible thing on his show about the MAGA right. And let me be very clear. I'm not talking politics. I'm talking about the way the situation was handled, specifically done on the show in the monologue that he was talking about. And first of all, we shouldn't be talking about death or assassination in the way Jimmy did. And it led to controversy. It led to a situation where he was pulled off air. And I think Disney did the right thing at that point in time by pulling him off air because he was kind of making a crack at Charlie Kirk's death. And first of all, indefinite suspension my ass. Because why would you say definite suspension and then put him back on Tuesday? I mean, and then the whole Waterworks monologue on Tuesday. Come on, man. Give me a break. Are you really sorry, or are you sorry to the Disney executives and Bob Iger? So, and Rachel Nichols needs to butt the F out because she got in trouble with Disney and got fired. And she went after Maria Taylor at the same time. So who is she to comment on what Disney should be doing?
Correct.
Like, I don't know. Like, do you think she was reaching a little?
I mean, it sure feels like it. And obviously, I'm not one who watches late night comedy acts anyway, because I will probably fulfill watch hour obligations for the ETV network on YouTube or rewatch, old games, wrestling promotions from 2005, for example. So I could care less about late night television. It doesn't matter who it is.
Late night television is kind of dead, to be honest.
I mean, the days of Johnny Carson are long gone. Let's just kind of say that for what it is right now and whatnot.
There's no Letterman.
Or Letterman or Jay Leno, any of those guys, I agree. But I mean, I don't know, Nick. I mean, I think it's, if you want to reach, I don't think that Disney would be worried about the NFL deal because of a wisecrack made by somebody not even involved with the league or the sports umbrella of the corporation, where, again, late night TV and entertainment's a whole separate entity from the sports angle. Like, I kind of get where she's trying to come from, but to me, it just doesn't scream, you need to worry about the NFL deal now because somebody within, a different department said this on one of your stations. I mean, literally they had, Monday Night Football on both ABC and ESPN, I think, this past Monday night. So, I mean, if anything, is it maybe some sheer pettiness though that Rachel Nichols lost her job within the Disney company more than anything else? That's all I can kind of think of here.
And by the way, she got exposed because someone accidentally sent in the tape that she forgot to stop recording on of the comments being made by Maria about Maria. And she wants to talk about how political correctness should be done. Really?
And the only thing I'll say about Kimmel, it's like in sports, Nick, the old saying, you don't wish upon injury to a player you don't like.
Yes.
You don't make jokes about someone losing their life. I don't care what it is. That is just beyond off limits.
And also, it made the 17-minute monologue a little insincere when
Agreed.
what are you accomplishing with the Waterworks? Tell me. Because he said, he wrote an Instagram post to his wife and the family, asking for compassion and all that stuff. Really? After the only reason you're asking for compassion is because your show was pulled off the air. I mean,
and to again clarify too, it still is off air if it is a Next Star or a Nexstar or a
Sinclair.
Sinclair-owned ABC affiliate. Now, just for example, it still is aired here locally in San Diego because KGTV Channel 10 is owned by the Scripps Media Group, and they have still showed the program since Tuesday.
Yeah, so I don't know. This is an interesting one. And you know what? He claims like, oh, well, everyone's watching me tonight. Okay, that's one night because everyone wanted to tune in and see what you had to say. That's why everyone tuned in. But long story short, anyone who has an opinion on this, it's not a good idea because you're going to get wrapped up in the middle of it. And Rachel should just keep her mouth shut on this specific topic because she has no leg to stand on because she had an issue with Disney already.
Yeah, and I'm tired of seeing family and friends embroiled in this controversy. Like, let people do what they want to do. If they want to mourn Charlie Kirk because of what he believed or that their viewpoints were with them, let them be, for God's sakes. And if someone wants to be on the other side, let them be. Let's not be sitting here acting like spoiled children at the Thanksgiving dinner table, throwing food at each other because we don't agree about something not involving whatever it might be. And I'm sick and tired of seeing it across the web.
The last thing I'll say is that politics is like destroying this country. And I'm not talking about Republican or Democrat. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about personally, this country. Like, people are letting politics destroy themselves. Personally, it's ruining friendships. It's ruining family relationships. It's ruining long-term relationships. People who were in relationships, marriages, it's breaking up marriages. Like, can we just stop with politics and live life?
Be better, people. Is it that hard to ask?
Politics is like a smidgen of what we deal with in everyday life. We have so many other things we need to worry about that politics is not the first thing on my list. Sorry, it's just not.
It never has been for me and never will be. And if you don't like it, then tough.
Yeah, exactly.
Nick, let's move on, though, to a very cool broadcast done on CBS on Sunday, who recently celebrated the 50th anniversary of the iconic NFL Today pregame show with a retro-era broadcast of the Vikings hosting the Bengals on Sunday. The broadcast, which featured throwback graphics, music, and a virtual recreation of the 1975 set, was a huge hit with NFL fans who appreciated the CBS nostalgia. The network even brought back original host Brent Musburger to join James Brown and the guys in a broadcast that was a major rating success for the network. The move is a clear indication of how networks can use nostalgia in history to connect better with their audiences, including Jim Nantz using Brent's line of "You are looking live at U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota." So, Nick, is the retro-themed broadcast a one-off gimmick, or does it signal a new direction for major network sports programming, in your opinion?
No, this is more special situations. I don't think this is going to be a turnover. It was the 50th anniversary. I kind of like what they did with the old wording graphics of back in the day. They wore the CBS old jacket, which was kind of awesome. The old logo, which was kind of awesome. This is not coming back. Like, if anyone is expecting nostalgia, it's not coming back. But once in a while, I thought it was cool with JJ Watt and Ian Eagle. Ian Eagle was wearing the fake mustache, and JJ Watt was wearing like the big, gigantic glasses of back in the day. I wouldn't call it a gimmick because that's kind of insulting partially, but I would say it's more special programming, phenomenon type programming, but not a gimmick.
Yeah, it's not a gimmick. I always appreciate, though, when networks, like when the Ducks, for example, in Anaheim had their 20th anniversary, I think, they did a retro era broadcast on, I believe, Prime Ticket. John Allers and Brian Hayward had the old school Prime Ticket mic flags. The score bug looked just like it did back in the 90s. All the fonts looked like they were right out of like Microsoft Paint, maybe, or Microsoft Word 95 or 96.
Yes.
So it really had the feel, and then obviously in game, they had like an old school goal horn. They played Rock and Roll Part 2 by Gary Glitter for their goal song, like it was the 90s, for God's sakes.
That's awesome.
But it really felt like it was something done in 1993, 95, 97. The Padres did this one year when they had the 20th anniversary too of the 98 Bulk of the Winter World Series. They had a full 4-game series with St. Louis, and every game they wore the old school pinstripe uniforms. The broadcast looked like it was on cable TV again. So it's good for a one-off, but it does, I think, though, Nick, make you appreciate how things looked, and especially though if it's like you and me, we weren't alive back in '75, so seeing it though was like, so this is how our parents and grandparents watched football back in the '70s.
Yeah, I mean, it's nostalgia. That's the word I was really looking for that we miss because today is now all about colors and things bouncing all over the screen
High
and
definition.
high definition. Or as us radio nerds, AM and FM as opposed to satellite radio. But it's cool once in a while when they do these things, but it's not coming back.
It's not coming back, Sally. It would be cool. Nick, before we get to the top of the hour, my friend, more controversy in college football, but a new lawsuit has now been filed against the UNC Chapel Hill Board of Trustees, accusing them of breaking a state law to hide discussions about hiring Bill Belichick. The lawsuit filed by a former university provost claims the board used emergency meetings and closed sessions to deliberate on Belichick's lucrative contract without facing public scrutiny. This case is part of a larger pattern of alleged violations of the North Carolina state law that is called open meetings law and raises serious questions about the transparency of major college athletic decisions. So, Nick, what does this new lawsuit tell us about the lack of transparency in high-stakes college sports decisions? And is it a sign, though, of a growing trend in big-time college sports where, again, Nick, we both believe Belichick is one and done at Chapel Hill, and now this kind of gives more reason for it to probably happen, in my opinion.
It makes me wonder how long the hiring process was going on for in this situation.
And more importantly, why did it take 3 weeks for it to come out when the season is already underway?
And first of all, they're like so far an underdog that they're going nowhere. What bothers me about this whole situation is why were they trying to hide it? Is there something going on that we don't know about with Bill Belichick?
Did Jordan interfere several times in the negotiations?
It's not the first time we've heard that scenario, including that they were supposed to be on what's it called? Hard Knocks. Because they were going to put UNC on Hard Knocks, and she said the only way that's going to happen is if I'm given an executive producer title on Hard Knocks. And I guarantee you HBO went, no. And that was the end of that, because apparently she's the negotiator of everything he does. But I don't know. I have to look more into this this law that you're talking about. What is the name of the law again?
The North Carolina Open Meetings Law.
I've never heard of it. This is the first time I've actually heard of it. But I don't see how that actually comes into play here, because negotiations happen in secret all the time. Unless they mean it like under the table, meaning that could be illegal if it's under the table.
You want me to become a law professor for you here for about 15 seconds?
Yeah, maybe. I'm going to look it up myself.
So Article 33C, meetings of public bodies, Section 143-318.9 equals public policy. Whereas the public bodies that administrator, the legislative, policymaking, judicial administrative and advisory functions of North Carolina and its political subdivisions exist solely to conduct the person or people's business. It is the public policy of North Carolina that the hearings, deliberations, and actions of these bodies be conducted openly. 1979-655, Section 1.
I don't know. I feel like this is above our pay grades, partially.
It partially is, but it's more of a thing of like you need to have a meeting like this open to the public where they can weigh in. It sounds like on what you're doing, even though it's a college.
I've never heard that ever. Since when are negotiations that are done for a coach ever done publicly in front of a public group? Have you ever heard that? I've never heard that.
Never.
So it sounds like they're kind of reaching for straws partially here with a law.
Probably.
But I wouldn't put it past UNC like to do anything desperate to get him to be the head coach. If that meant doing like secret deals, that could be what they're referring to, that maybe there's some like secret deals or money going on behind the scenes. Now, that could be tax fraud if you're not reporting that. If, like, say you're doing deals behind
Mhm.
the scenes and you're not saying anything. Look at the story that we're going to talk about later on with Kawhi Leonard and the whole thing
Indeed.
with aspiration. I mean, I'm wondering if that's what we're coming up. Maybe we need Pablo Torre to do some investigative work on this story too.
I mean, I think they could this just adds a layer to an already open wound that you have like the very teeny tiny, like blister size circular band-aid for like the back of your foot over like open heart surgery. I mean, and I hate to say that because, obviously Bill wanted another NFL job and he didn't get it because either it was his rhetoric in meetings or, Robert Kraft said this or, this happened.
Or he's a head case.
Or he's a head case. I mean, but yeah, greatest NFL coach of all time. Even I know that, and I don't even like watching the NFL or sport in general. You can go read my Substack about that. But also, Nick, I think any college knew that there was going to be a gamble of some type you were going to be taking if you brought Bill into the equation in some way, shape, form, or size. And sadly, here we are now with, a bit of a rocky start to the season. The first game was a train wreck with them getting clobbered by TCU. Then, yeah, they beat the almighty Charlotte 49ers, big deal. They beat some other, cream puff game on the schedule, big deal. I'm not really going to get, all jazzed about that.
And ESPN is desperately giving them all their games.
And they're giving them all these games on either ESPN, ESPN2, the ACC network, ACC network plus.
Because they want Bill. It has nothing to do with the team.
And how quick it goes from Dion to Bill all of a sudden when it comes to college football with ESPN's priorities.
I mean, the whole Dion thing was a joke, and now like that team's in free fall mode also. So I don't know. This whole thing is kind of ridiculous and
pretty bonkers.
It makes me wonder if there's a tax fraud situation going on. If there's secret
is there
meetings
collusion?
Maybe. But who knows?
Collusion.
Well, as we head into hour two, first, Callan, let's tell the people about Novig. So this show is powered by Novig, America's #1 sports prediction market. Available right now in 35 states, including right here in California, Texas, Florida, Georgia, and New York. On Novig, you're 10 times more likely to win long-term compared to a traditional sports book because you're playing against real users, not the house. Sign up today and use promo code ETB Network, ETBNETWORK, for exclusive bonuses. I like that. That looks great. So here's the platform. If you want to get a small look at what we're doing here, actually, we could put together a parlay if we want, since we're sitting here.
You want to do a little TNF tonight, my friend?
Yeah, I think most of us pick Seattle in football forecast. So probably looking Seattle. And they give you all the representation odds, or you could make your own if you don't like the odds. Now, Novig has to accept your odds, but you can propose odds. And I haven't tried it really yet. I still have to get used to that side of it. But our play tonight, because I have to be careful with what terminology we use.
We're locking it in, baby.
We're locking in Seattle -1.5. We need something else. So we got to go 2 so we can get our press row parlay here. Maybe we can cross sports a little bit here if you want. Let's see. We got anything baseball wise coming up? I kind of like the Phillies, maybe -1.5 after last night. What do you think?
Yeah.
So you want to go those two and see where we get?
$10 will pay you out $42.37.
You've been on it since we've been starting using this app. Like you've really hit home.
Yeah, I mean, what else really stands out? Anything?
Let's see.
These are all Friday games.
Yeah, let's try to stay to today if possible. I would stay away from the Mets, Cubs. I'm thinking maybe Red Sox +1.5 against Toronto because they've been playing so poorly.
Okay.
I think 3's enough.
So a $10 play would pay out $64.94.
You're in.
There you go.
So that's our press row parlay. How did we do on the last one?
How did we do for the last one? Let's take a look and see. Well, Nick, we hit with the Padres +7 or Brewers +7.5. We got Aaliyah Boston over the rebounds for that game. Fever and the Aces under 160.5, which of course became a social media reel.
Oh my God.
And other than that, I think we were good.
But do you remember the plays we had for the last press row parlay or no?
This is the first one I believe that we've actually had.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes, I think so.
All right. So we'll keep track of this one for you. We'll have a progress report when we come back
Next week. Yes.
next
So
week.
there is what we're going for right here.
So again, it's Philly -1.5, Boston +1.5, and Seahawks tonight -1.5.
$10 play will pay you out $64.94 today.
So again, if you want to get involved in the action, Novig is the way to go. Sign up today. Use promo code ETB Network for exclusive bonuses. Spend $5 and get $50 bonuses to use on future plays on the Novig book.
There we go.
Are we ready for hour 2?
Oh, of course we are, because Nick, this one is another story that kind of went sideways over the past couple of days. But Nick, this was very much a shock. But following their season-ending loss to the Phoenix Mercury in Game 3 of the WNBA playoffs, the New York Liberty's post-game press conference took a very uncomfortable turn when a reporter insisted that head coach Sandy Brondello should be fired. The question was made while Brondello, Brianna Stewart, and Sabrina Ionescu were at the podium together, with the players showing their clear support for the coach, including a lot of facial reactions. But in a very weird Matt Hardy-inspired twist of fate, Brondello was indeed fired about 24 hours later, making the reporter's very much interesting question eerily prophetic. The incident, though, Nick, does highlight the growing intensity of WNBA media coverage and the at times tense relationship between reporters and players. But, Nick, was it appropriate, though, in this space and time, for this reporter to ask a question that so directly called for a coach's firing while the coach and players were at the podium together following a very difficult loss in Game 3?
So before we go there, this is the actual clip. Let me just pause this so this doesn't get away. So the weird question that was asked. So she's sitting there, Stewie's sitting there, and Sabrina's sitting there. So let's take a listen, because Callan and I almost lost our minds from the media member who asked this question. But take a listen to this first. It's quick.
Do you feel like you guys want to run it back with this group and, hopefully next year be a little bit more lucky with injuries, or how do you kind of view where the team is at right now?
Well, I'm coming back. Yeah. I mean, I think we all know.
Do you feel like
Okay, that wasn't the exact. I'm trying to find the one of where she criticized, where someone asked if she's going to be fired, but the way everything was going, they all thought that she was coming back.
Sure seemed like it. Having just won a championship too, like the whole thing, just how this story, Nick, has played out though over the last 2 to 3 days since they were eliminated has been obviously Brondello fired, which tells me that could she be an expansion team coach with the Fire or Tempo next season? Could she go to Seattle? What will that be? But also, more importantly, why though would now let me be clear though, too, because I think that we both were speculating late on Thursday morning, early Wednesday, late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, that I really had speculated though that the Tsai family had something to do with maybe relieving Brondello of her duties, though, but that was not the case. Though, Nick, per reports, it actually came from the general manager, who apparently said that, yeah, we won it all last year, but that wasn't good enough. You mean to tell me that winning the first basketball title in some way, shape, form, or size for the great people of New York since the Knicks in the 70s did not weigh enough to bring her back after a very difficult loss in the first round to a very good Phoenix ball club? Come on.
I mean, so here's the awkward moment. I found it. So this was all about should she come back? And I want you to watch the reaction of Stewie, because her reaction is unbelievable. So listen to this.
What would you say to those who question whether Sandy should be here next year to coach you guys again?
What the fuck?
I mean, Stewie wondered if like
I'm
fall
not
out of her
saying I
chair.
question it. There's just some people that do.
I mean, to anybody that kind of questions Sandy being here, like, this is a resilient group, and she has our back, and we have hers. And the way that she continued to kind of, I don't know, deal with the cards she was dealt, like, was incredible. It wasn't easy for anybody, but she came in every day with a positive attitude and a mindset to put us in our best positions possible and best foot forward. So we're not going to be a team that points fingers. You know, there's a lot of us that could have done better this season, but we're still going to fight and show up for each other every single day, and I think that's what's the most important part. So we have Sandy's back.
Do you? Do you? Because we find out, what was it, the day after?
Yeah, within the with 12 to 24 hours later, there was an IG story put up by Stewie afterwards, thanking Sandy for her time there. Even then, though, Nick, time and place, please, when it comes to a question like that. I mean, we could go and be Professor McClurg and Professor Morgeson about media etiquette 101 that you don't ask a question like that. But, seeing the reaction, though, in real time, Brianna's face tells the story, how, she wanted to probably fall off her chair. And, I mean, I always struggle a bit, Nick, trying to read athletes when they are at the podium or they're giving their thoughts, in the middle of a game, at halftime, post-game, whatever it might be. Because, they want to say a lot of different things, though, but that they're going to keep the same sort of, my favorite line in hockey. Yeah, we're fine. We just got to get pucks in deep. We just got to get pucks in deep. That's like the same stagnant response that hockey players usually use at every level about the gameplay. And more importantly, that hockey has the biggest, we more than, me, myself, and I sort of philosophy when it comes to how you talk about the game and about your team and the media. I mean, even though, Nick, that we can judge the social media post and, what Stewie said, though, I still just question, though, is that the right time and place to ask about should the coach be fired? Where, again, the Liberty end up they do pull the plug, but also how much of that, though, is on the, is on the franchise. How can you say, though, that when a coach brings this franchise, almost, nearly on 30 seasons of basketball in this league, and they finally bring New York basketball a championship, sadly not your Nets and not the Knickerbockers, but that a New York basketball team is hoisting up a trophy in some way, shape, form, or size, that wasn't good enough for you as a franchise?
Can we stretch this out further and say this is the first time in quite a long time a New York professional franchise has won a title?
Yeah, if you want to go that far, too, then absolutely.
And also NYCFC also. But
yeah.
But you could say that the Liberty were the first one to really win. Think about this. The Yankees, the Mets, the Giants, the Jets, the Rangers, the Devils.
Islanders.
We're talking about what? What did I count? 8 teams there? 7, 8 teams there?
I'll throw in the Red Bulls, too, for Liam.
Okay. So, 8 teams. The Liberty are the one that won the title. I mean, I'm still mad at the Knicks because I think they handled that situation with the Liberty back in the day really poorly.
Oh,
also,
1,000%. Absolutely.
It also didn't help that a certain Hall of Fame NBA player who was in charge of the franchise for a while had a small situation, if you want to call it.
Mr. Isaiah Thomas?
Yes. Yeah. I was ecstatic when Joe Tsai and the Nets really took the Liberty on and really made them a much bigger team and cared. But Tsai is dropping the ball big time. Sandy's an incredible coach.
Yes.
First of all, Sandy's going to end up somewhere. She's going to have a huge waiting list of teams that are going to want her.
Oh, yeah.
And I really think she was doing a good job with the Liberty. First of all, when you win, the way I look at it, when you win a title, you usually get 3 seasons Usually you can clear 3 seasons once you win a title. I don't know. I mean, I guess
But being one and done after winning a title just does not. I don't care what the sport is, Nick. That just is not right. I don't care what the team, what level. You win a title, you deserve to come back. And if it doesn't work out after, a couple years down the road, then you make the move, but not right after they lose game 3.
and that's the problem because something obviously happened behind the scenes
And we
because
don't know what it is.
I don't think we're ever going to know what it is, but Stewie's reaction, unless that was just for, as they say, for TV, and we don't know what went on behind the scenes, because maybe they were trying to save face. Because think about it, today, who has all the power? The players do.
More importantly, Nick, Sandy Brondello played her final season with the Seattle Storm, and guess who just got rid of the entire coaching staff?
Yeah, you're right. I did see that, and
I do think though that Portland and Toronto, who become the next 2 teams, if there's a season, would probably chomp at the bit. But who's not to say though that a coach who had ties to a franchise for 1 season of their playing career doesn't go back?
I mean, they listed a ton of teams that would be interested. I mean, I don't know. This is just a bad situation and a bad look. And I like Joe Tsai.
Oh, same.
But maybe this isn't him who dropped the ball.
That went to my point. Like, I don't, because I think, Nick, during our discussion last night, I said, I find it hard to believe that Joe and Clara Tsai would have any say in this thing, with this happening.
They write the checks.
They're not hands-on owners like Jerry Jones or the Cronkies or the Spanos family or other owners that really have their hands in on, like, Nick, there was a story that broke about the Lerner family. 15 different family members have their hands in baseball operations with the Nationals. So Joe and Clara are probably the 2 most laid back. I wouldn't say laid back, but they let people do their job. And that is not a thing that really happens with certain organizations. Because again, I've seen Joe firsthand with how he runs the lacrosse team here in San Diego. He'll show up with his entourage and he doesn't really say a whole lot. He'll say hi to you, but he'll kind of mind his own business. But he's very much like intellectual to himself. Again, great guy though. Does a great personality. Is investing his time and money and all that good stuff. But more importantly though, Nick, when I read that quote, though, from the GM saying that we weren't satisfied with just 1 championship and we had to cut the cord, that tells you this was basketball operations driven with no sign off from Joe or his wife whatsoever.
Well, I have the quote, the direct quote, because it was everywhere, and I totally forgot about the quote. But Jonathan Kolb is the GM of the Liberty. And he came out and he said, quote, "This is not a results-based organization. It's about how do we position ourselves to be at the top of the league in a sustainable way." I'm sorry, didn't you just win a title in 2024?
I'm sorry, you just won a title, and I think you were the betting favorite, either tied with Minnesota or right there on the Novik Sportsbook app.
Like right behind it, yeah.
Or like maybe like plus 150 maybe or something along those lines. And results-based business, you finally have a trophy in the case after being so close so many times in club history.
I'm sorry. When someone
results-based business, my ass.
That's kind of naive and kind of ignorant to say that we're a results-based organization when you won a title last year. I mean, it makes me wonder what the motives are for the organization. Also,
whatever the motives may be, I mean, whoever comes in and gets this job is going to be sadly inheriting a bit of a dumpster fire. Not for the fact of Stewie and Ionescu and the players, but now it's like basketball ops doesn't trust who's in charge of the franchise.
And the thing is, Sandy was a respected coach.
Oh yeah, I mean, Sandy and I have talked in the past when she won in Phoenix in 2014. I sent her a nice message on LinkedIn, and she said, thanks a lot. Means a lot. Because she was a longtime assistant in LA for a few years, and then she went to Phoenix, though, in that first year. Again, they won 29 games that year. But again, that was a Diana Taurasi, Brittany Griner, Candace Dupree, Dewana Bonner-led club, though.
Incredible team.
But she said it right, though, in her message. She said, Callum, when you have players like Taurasi and Griner, Dupree and Bonner, and everybody buys in and pulls the same side of the rope, That's how teams are successful. That's how New York was so good these last couple of years, even though they didn't win the title in 2023. It came to fruit, though, last season when everyone was pulling on the same side of the rope, though. Now you would hate to hear that, somebody, that it was pockets of individuals now or anything along those lines, though, in New York. And I have a very still difficult time thinking that would actually happen.
I mean, she's someone I'd want to get into the mind, too, and find out what went down. And like on this type of show and see what happened behind the scenes, because she was no stickler.
No,
like,
not at all.
Like she held her players accountable. It makes me wonder if Brianna Stewart has a little too much power behind the scenes, a little bit.
It's called collusion.
Um,
it's called collusion.
Because the WTF comment, now that I've watched it a bunch of times, it makes me wonder if, like I said, she did that for a made-for-TV moment rather than being sincere. And then, like, Christy shared that Instagram story, like, with me. And I saw, and I'm trying to find, like, where the actual Instagram story is. But it makes me wonder if she did it for show, so that she didn't look bad.
Correct.
In that regard. Because everyone's going to blame her.
Oh, yeah. I mean, somebody's going to have to take the blame. And again, I would just hate that it'd be the players, in some way. But we'll keep an eye on the story, though, folks, as time goes on. Because then we go from one soap opera in New York to the other soap opera in the WNBA in Chicago. The tumultuous end of the Chicago Sky season ended with more controversy as star players Angel Reese, Courtney Vandersloot, and Ariel Atkins did not partake in their exit interviews with the team. The move followed a very messy end to a very much dismal season for Chicago that included the club having the worst record in the league, but also a suspension for Angel Reese in public comments about her teammates. The situation has now fueled speculation about the future of all three players and the overall direction of the franchise, which finished with the worst record in the league. So, Nick, we obviously have covered this story in some way, shape, form, or size over the course of the last, 3 weeks. I'd say all of the month of September in some way. We talked about Angel Reese. By the way, you're good now on your end. But this whole thing, though, Nick, has now sprouted a new set of legs now, where now we hear that all three players did not get, engage with the media for posts for, exit interviews. And now, Nick, this is just becoming like a very bitter divorce, it feels like, in Chicago. But Nick, I have said for the last 3 weeks, though, this is sadly a proven track record with the Chicago Sky since their first day. Again, I have laid out names of Sylvia Fowles, Elena Deladon, Gabby Williams, Cappy Pondexter, Candace Parker, now even Angel Reese, Nick, that's at least 7 names who have put on that powder blue and gold jersey, who in some way have shared that the Chicago Sky are not a well-run franchise. And again, I don't know where that lies, though, with Michael Alter, the owner. Is that with the basketball operations staff, or is it just a collective issue involving everybody being responsible, from the players to the coaches to the, basketball ops to front office members, you name it? But yet, though, Nick, this team, though, still won a title in 2021, but then just this mass exodus, I remember, though, Nick, the Deladon situation playing out in real time when I was doing my WNBA podcast, where it was not really messy, but it was her back. She suffers from Lyme disease. She had the great, very much the public story that, hey, my sister suffers from multiple illnesses, and I did not go to UConn. I went and played at Delaware, so I still played close to home. She obviously got forced her way out to go to Washington to stay close to family. Cappy Pondexter had her problems and left and went to New York and then bounced around other places. Gabby Williams, shared her frustration with the franchise. Sylvia Fowles was their first pick in 2008. She won championships in Minnesota after sitting out, holding out, in the NFL preseason, for example. So, Nick, this whole story now just, again, is a new set of worms, though. But, Nick, what are your thoughts, though, about how the season from top to bottom, man, ended for the Chicago Sky, along with, of course, what's been very public over the last 3 to 4 weeks here in September?
Dumpster fire. That's the first word that comes to my head.
Dumpster fire is a good starting point.
So how many games did they win? They won 10 or 12.
Them and Dallas both finished, I think, with the same record.
I think they were like 12 and 30 something or something. It was like
10 and 34.
oh, I mean, you know where my first point is going to go, which is basically that Angel Reese has been a dumpster fire, like since she's been in the league. I mean, I saw a video the other day that apparently she's back in the gym, finally working on a jump shot. But of course, I said to you when we were doing the stream the other night that unapologetically Angel is back and they're interviewing Common. Like the priorities are out of whack. And it's causing other players on the team to revolt because there's no chemistry. There's no team chemistry. And by the way, with Jonathan Kolb, the GM of the Liberty, doesn't realize that the reason they won a title in 24 was because they had chemistry. So, Christy's saying she's too busy working on being a star. That's accurate.
Nick.
Oh. Uh-oh. I think Callan froze there for a second, but hopefully he comes back in a minute. But and the drop. Okay, well he'll be back in a minute. But the point that we were starting to get at is Angel Reese is too focused on a media career. You good?
That was weird.
Okay, what were you going to start to ask, by the way?
I said, would you believe me if I told you that Bleacher Report Women's Sports already has or put a post out this morning? Bold Angel Reese landing spots for a potential trade already.
Well, yeah, because she's already been speculating about a trade. Okay.
Washington would receive Angel Reese for rookie sensation Sonia Cintrone, a first-round pick in next year's draft. This right here would be like EDD. She's from Baltimore.
Yes.
Who's the closest team to Baltimore in the WNBA?
The Mystics. Yeah.
Angel goes to New York for Naira Sabali in a first round and second round pick in both 26 and 27.
No, absolutely not. I would not mess with the Brianna Stewart and the Sabrina Ionescu and everything they have going on there. I would keep Angel Reese far away from New York, and that's going to make her want to do more stuff off the court because New York is what? The media capital of the world.
Angel Reese to Golden State for Kate Martin and a top 10 pick in next year's draft.
I wouldn't be opposed to that because expansion team looking to grow, maybe adds a name. She comes in, maybe she becomes part of the team chemistry building. That one I could see happening.
Angel goes to Seattle for the Storm's first overall pick from this past draft, Dominique Malonga, and a first-round pick for next year's draft.
No, Seattle has too much building to do, I think.
Portland or Toronto gets Angel Reese for a 2026 first-round pick, a future first-rounder, and 2026 draft rights to a player taken in the expansion draft.
Maybe, because...
Maybe.
I don't know how I feel about that, because if she gets off to the wrong foot with an expansion team, that's going to become...
a brand new market, too, exactly. That could be...
the reputation of the team. So, I don't know if that's exactly a good choice.
Let me say this, Nick, and by the way, my computer for some reason went to sleep in the middle of the show. Like, what's going on here? But to kind of go back though to all three players missing media availability, could you really blame Vandersloot and Atkins for not going? Because I know probably damn well, Nick, they would have let loose and just ripped Angel Reese a new one to the Chicago media and into the entire league media. So maybe it was a smart thing for those two because they both got name dropped. You know, they weren't just like, you know, they, them. They were like, no, Courtney Vandersloot's got to be healthy. Ariel's got to be better. Haley can't be a part of a championship team. Like, again, how can you say that when this is a team sport? Now, I know that Nick made the point last week or the week prior that when you draft somebody like Angel Reese, that is who you build your club around. It's part of the young core or the core of the franchise. But when this stuff happens, though, Nick, and this is nothing like, hate to use a comparison, Nick. This isn't Ryan Leaf going after Jay Posner of the San Diego Union Tribune in 1997 after a bad game with the Chargers. But it's still
Correct.
it's still pretty close, though, that we actually went to the point of naming players on your team because of things out of their control. Do you really think Courtney wanted to rip her ACL early in the season?
No.
Do you think Ariel Atkins, wanted to do whatever she had to do with her injury problems or whatever was going on with her?
No. No one wants to get hurt. No one wants to cause issues or chemistry issues with a team. That's just unfortunate reality that stuff happened. And I think Angel Reese sometimes gets reality confused with being stuck in a bubble sometimes. And that's the problem. Angel Reese thought she was going to come into the league after having success and beating Caitlin Clark in the biggest game. But Angel Reese forgot how to be a good person in the process coming into the league.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing is just... I mean, again, Nick, I don't know what to call it, though. I mean, it's a very much mangled organization, which is just so puzzling for a club, though, Nick, who won a championship 4 years ago.
Well, that was a different team.
It was
but
a different team. But again, you still had players leave, go elsewhere. When you have top picks like Sylvia Fowles and even a Cappy Pondexter leave the organization after a few years because there's some weird diabolical disconnect going on between the front office and wherever it is, it's just not a good look for the franchise.
I mean, you could also say Candace Parker helping them win a title too.
And then leaving 1 year after they got knocked out in the postseason and going to Vegas and winning a title with a broken foot in 2023 when she was just sitting on the bench.
Right. So you got to look at veteran experience versus, I wouldn't even call it rookie experience, but just not a ton of experience.
Agreed.
And to be honest, I don't think she's ever going to put in the dedication to win a title. You get some players, and see if you follow my logic of comparison here a little bit, but Angel Reese is James Harden.
In a sense of great skill set, but doesn't apply it to the game.
It doesn't put enough effort in to want to win.
Or that, yes.
And only cares about the off-the-court stuff. James Harden would rather run around in Paris or run around with stuff off the court, travel. Remember the whole thing that he supposedly got fat because he didn't want to be with the Rockets anymore. So that he got himself traded to the Sixers, and then that became a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a fair comparison, I would say, when it's like, which went to my point before I move on to the next topic, when Angel had the suspension and then did not play in the game because of her back, was it a holdout? Was it this? Was it, again, we're never going to know, though. But
the refusal, the last game.
I think for the sake of the fact that I'm sure that Vandersloot and Atkins would have shredded her to shreds, they chose not to let them speak to the media.
I mean, can you imagine if like Elisa Leslie ever did that?
Oh, goodness. Or if Lobo did that, if Air Swoops ever did that, or Cynthia Cooper ever did that.
Different game, different era, different generation of basketball. Same thing in the NBA with Michael Jordan and Shaq and Rodman and all those guys back in the day. David Robinson, all those guys back in the day. There was no such thing as having an attitude.
No.
And getting away with it. Now, because we live, unfortunately, in a digital and influential culture.
Yes.
Everyone is allowed to do what they want. It's a free-for-all culture. Teams don't punish players anymore because if they do it, then they get their asses handed to them. Look what happened to Sandy again with the Liberty. I guarantee you that had more to do with the players than what the freaking moron GM has to say, because he's saying it's a results-based business. I'm sorry you won a title.
Yeah, don't give me that malarkey. Stop it.
So I think, unfortunately, the culture is the messed up part here. It has nothing to do with the game.
No.
The game has evolved and changed into a different atmosphere, but the players are babied. I hate to say it, but like, these players do whatever they want, and if they don't get what they want, I didn't get what I wanted today. Like, that's Angel, though. Like, oh, I'm gonna go hand out my Reese's cereal, and she tried to turn it into like a charitable post thing, which was kind of ridiculous. But like,
And to further that, the Me Bounds merch is also going to the foundation she started, along with helping with cyberbullying and, like cyber hazing, for example, as well.
you know why she did that, right? To avoid all the hate she would have gotten if she just put out the Me Bound merch and didn't, because you can't insult somebody who has a charitable component attached to whatever they're doing. You can't. That would be sacrilege if you insulted someone who was doing charity. So that's how she got around not having the issues with the Me Bound merch.
Nick, we'll move on to another one, and a story that should have happened for a different franchise in this league a few weeks ago, but the Phoenix Mercury's improbable 20-point comeback win over Minnesota in Game 2 has now allowed them to enforce a Game 4 at PHX Arena in Phoenix, which though, Nick, results in moving the Jonas Brothers out of PHX Arena and not the Mercury's playoff game. The Mercury forced the Game 4 after their 20-point comeback win in Game 2. And we'll play the home game at PHX Arena, unlike in the 2021 season when they had to move a playoff game to ASU's Desert Financial Arena to accommodate Disney on Ice at what was then called, I believe, Talking Stick Resort Arena in 2021. I might be wrong, though. But, Nick, does the Mercs decision, or actually the decision, has sparked debate in some way about about prioritizing sports teams over other events, especially as arenas become more multi-purpose venues, especially now as crossover season starts with the NBA and NHL season starting soon, for example, with the Mercury and Suns now playing in the same time frame of the season. So, Nick, does the Mercs' decision to stay home, thereby displacing the Jonas Brothers concert, demonstrate a growing commitment from teams to prioritize their own events over other high-profile entertainment bookings? Simple question. Where the heck was this for the Golden State Valkyries instead of your sport of tennis infuriating on that for them in Game 2?
So, no offense to the Jonas Brothers fans, and Jen, I apologize in advance when I say this, but no one gives a crap about the Jonas Brothers concert knowing that there's a playoff team inside their own arena. Sorry, that's just the honest, truthful answer here. You're telling me, and people are getting pissed off because, I don't get to see my Jonas Brothers concert. It's their arena. It's their team. Are you kidding me right now? And by the way, why did you schedule something knowing you could have been in the playoffs?
Exactly.
Now, I don't know how good or bad Phoenix was supposed to be this year, because I know they were going through some transition, but they're actually playing really good basketball, believe it or not. And they might have more interruptions depending on how this series goes. So this is ridiculous. The Jonas Brothers will find another place.
I'm trying to find out where they actually are going to move their show to for the upcoming week.
Or they could just reschedule Phoenix and come back to it, because it might be too late at this point. But this whole thing is ridiculous. And what was it? The Valkyries that got displaced for their home game for the Laver Cup? I mean, guys, I love tennis. And Callan knows this. I played tennis. I love watching tennis. But get the fuck out. Sorry. But, like, you're telling me you're going to displace a WNBA playoff game for a stupid Laver Cup tournament? I mean, you don't see that for an NBA game. You don't ever see them get displaced. You don't see an MLB playoff game get displaced. You don't, for the most part, you don't see an NHL game in the playoffs get displaced.
Yep.
I mean, am I missing something here? Because I don't. unless the Mercury, which is the Suns ownership group, stepped up and said, "Look, our team's playing well."
So, quick interjection per USA Today. All they did was move the concert from Sunday to Monday to accommodate the basketball game.
Really?
So it's still going to be at the same arena. It's a day later because of the basketball game.
Okay, so why didn't they do that with the Valkyries?
Oh, because the Labor Cup was all weekend.
Okay, move it a weekend later.
Three-day event, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay, move it a weekend later.
Oh, no, we had TV deals.
Who gives a crap about the Labor Cup? You can't tell me that there's a massive audience for the Labor Cup. Come on.
They brought in $38 million.
See, that's the issue that we got to discuss, which is, are the owners that desperate in Golden State that they took $38 million over because the Valkyries are an expansion team, so they were afraid?
You just answered your own question because they thought because expansion teams don't work, don't always do well unless you're the Valkyries or San Diego FC of MLS. You don't have the faith and trust and pixie dust in the team to actually go anywhere. Yeah, when they shock the world like this in a way, you should at least, like I said last week or 2 weeks ago, have the window or have a date range.
Yeah.
This is off limits until we find out where we're going to, if we're going to make the postseason.
Do I dare say the Golden State, Las Vegas, the Golden Knights? Do I dare say the Golden Knights, who had an incredible first 2 seasons?
In their defense, though, they're the only tenant of their arena.
But still. Did anyone expect the Golden Knights to come this close in the first season and then make it to the Stanley Cup in season 2?
And then win it in their 4th year, as Bill Foley predicted that they would do.
I mean, they made the Stanley Cup twice in 4 years in their existence. I mean, now I do agree with you that because they're technically I shouldn't say technically, they are the only tenant in their arena that makes it easier. But
other than UFC going there every so often for Saturday night fight cards on whatever platform they're on,
right? But that's probably a schedule they work out between the UFC and them. So. This is bad luck. It's a really bad luck because the Valkyries were on an incredible run with PR, the way they were running, and you didn't play in your own home arena.
They sold out every home game. They're the only team not named Vegas who sold out every home game this year.
What does that tell you? Like, hello, what is it, the Lakeums?
Yeah. The Lakeups.
So, and I like the Lakeum ownership. They did an incredible job with the Warriors.
Absolutely. They brought a mediocre, poorly run franchise out of the dumpster to relevancy.
They were willing to eat the salary cap to keep the guys together, which they didn't have to, but they did, and it ended up.
Built a beautiful arena literally on the waterfront in downtown San Francisco.
But I'm saying most owners are not willing to eat the salary cap to keep their stars together. The Lakeum family was willing to do that. And what did it do? They won 3 in 5 years. I mean, So I don't understand. Your ownership has done this once before.
Yeah. And it was also weird being at the bar that night watching the game and seeing that they had to cover up the Chase Center logo with different color wood on the floor. Like, this is just so wrong.
You're talking about for the Labor Cup thing, or what are you talking about?
No. When the Valkyries played at SAP Center in San Jose.
Okay. So then they probably had to put in makeshift logos, which made it look ridiculous.
Just where it said Chase Center. The rest of the floor was fine, but just where it said Chase Center, they had to cover it up with some different style of wood,
which is a hindrance to the league and extra resources they have to spend on. I mean, why do you think we have home arenas for every team or home stadiums? They're built a certain way for logo and brand representation. I mean,
and now we're in a day and age, Nick, where NBA teams have like 7 different floor designs to match every damn uniform they have in their closet.
Oh, jeez. Don't even get that. You and I have had that discussion many times.
We'll talk about that later in the show. But of course, Nick, over in Major League Baseball, they have now added, Nick, a new policy that will ban all team officials, for example, scouts, from watching or collecting data on amateur ball players in both high school and college for a month-long period over the winter to try to help reduce injury risk. The league will also fully implement the automated ball strike system, or the ABS, coming up in 2026. The new system will not use a full-blown robo umpire, but will utilize a challenge system like in tennis, where teams can contest 2 calls per game. Nick, let's first start, though, with the down period. This kind of, in a way, feels like the no contact period in college athletics, where coaches can't talk to their players or recruits for like a week. So real quick about this, what I saw, there's going to be a break for high school kids, I believe, in October or November, and then one for college athletes too, before the season really begins to turn, or start, I should say, once the winter is over with. Nick, this is not really going to help, I think, with the injury risk, though. But I know that we're in a day and age, though, sadly, where parents kind of now force their kids not to play multiple sports. And that was always a thing I was told, or that I did for a little bit when I was playing, that I would play hockey, I would play baseball, I would try playing basketball. I still did hockey workouts leading up to baseball season, because I thought it would help with my running and speed and my conditioning. Even though, skating is one thing, but then, running is, still similar. But that's what I would do during the course of the winter to ramp up conditioning, try to get into shape and be somewhat of a, elite athlete at one point when I was about 12 years ago. But I don't know, though, if this really benefits baseball, because even then, Nick, you still have kids playing showcases over the summer. You've got so many tournaments. You got, travel ball is one thing. Will players now not take the downtime because they've been so used to the regimen, though, of playing year round, though, from, New Year's Day through the holidays and stuff of that caliber, Nick? So I like that baseball's trying their best to alleviate the strain for high school and, middle school, high school, and college kids. I don't know, Nick. I don't know, though, Nick, if this is really going to pan out, Sally, but I like that they're trying, though, but too little, too late, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of nailed it, actually. Where even if you put a break in, these players are so worried about falling behind the 8 ball when it comes to showcase or scouts or anything. They'll find ways to circumvent the rules and go behind the backs of.
I see what you did there.
So you're welcome.
Good grief.
But my point is that these players are going to find a way, even if there is a rule that says they're not going to play. They're just going to go play where no one can be seen, and they're just going to do it behind the scenes, or they'll find a loophole for it, essentially. So there's really the grass is green and the sky is blue. So like nothing changed.
Is water wet?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, look, I appreciate the effort, but it's not going to stop, Nick, because once Thanksgiving passes, my dad is going to be at his high school coaching 5 days a week after school concludes.
Right.
And I remember that regiment, man. Like it was a lot to juggle. Even in high school, it's a lot to juggle. You're playing a sport, you're practicing 5 days a week, or you're playing games. You're worrying about getting homework done in time. You're worried about this, you're worried about that.
Academics.
Yeah, and I would hope, though, that this would work, Nick, but I still think it's not really a player problem, Nick, and this has been my gripe. This is all about mom and dad being so hell-bent on their kid getting scouted, where, like I said, though, this is what's ruining youth sports, sadly, at, like, the Little League level or at the middle school level, the high school level, is it's all about getting scouted and all about getting recruited to, for the pros and for college. It's like, why have we forgotten about this being a fun activity for kids to be active, be healthy, learn friendships, learn teamwork? I recall Nick sharing when I went and spoke at a middle school, not this year, but last school year, there was a stat from Purdue University. Those who play team sports have a 67% higher chance of getting hired because they work in collaboration, they work in teamwork, they show leadership. All that does go a long way, and it may not result in you being announced as the first overall pick by the Colorado Rockies in the baseball draft, for example, coming up next June or next July. That, Candace Parker, Nick, always says, basketball was never going to always be was never going to be there for me all the time. Now, it is, though, for her because her production company, TNT, March Madness, the NBA, her podcast with Leah Boston, that we love to watch on TikTok, for example, when the clips do come out. But I appreciate the effort. I just don't think a lot of these kids, like you said, though, they don't want to fall behind the 8 ball, feel like that they're, oh, if I take the month off, though, I'm going to be out of rhythm. My swing's going to suck. This or that. You need to let the body heal at the end of the day.
I think the other thing too, which you were talking about before, about parents being hell-bent, obsessed over,
Stop living vicariously through your kids' lives for the love of all things that are holy.
and that's the point I was getting at, which is some of these young athletes, they play the game because they want to play the game.
Yeah.
They just want to play the sport. Some of them don't want to be professional athletes. They just don't.
That was
And
me.
I mean, did you ever have an aspiration to be a professional athlete or no?
Not really. I mean, but when you do get that letter in the mail of recruitment from Creighton University when you're a junior, out with injury, academically ineligible, but yet somebody out there wanted to take a gamble on a 6'5" second baseman from San Diego to go and play in Omaha, Nebraska, that stays right here. And I've
Right.
long have loved that university because they were the only one, Nick, who thought that I could give them something in the Missouri Valley Conference back in that time, or wherever they were in 2012 when I would have been out of, high school. And even my dad told scouts with Chicago, with the White Sox and the Reds and the Brewers, don't even go to my son. He's not going to want to pursue playing the game after he's done because he wants to become a broadcaster. And that was what he told them several times at the very end of my senior season. And that's what I end up doing because, this probably needs to have Tommy John. Both knees are shot. The back is not all there, on top of all the other things. That's from playing year round, Nick, and not stopping. Where again, this is where I appreciate baseball saying no data. You can't go watch these guys. These guys need a break. I kind of wish this was with me, or I had this back when I was playing, but you're not going to be able to stop, someone like yourself maybe, or a player, because maybe mom and dad are like, no, they're going to play the full year whether you like it or not. Sorry.
That's the issue where, and I see this a lot, like in youth sports and even around here, where parents are so, like I said, hell bent and crazy.
It's beyond disturbing.
And it's because they wanted to be a professional athlete, not the child. I mean, so because you're, and I hate saying this, fat and lazy and out of shape, and now you're going to push your kid to overdo it to the point where they're either going to do damage to themselves physically or even, God forbid, mentally do damage. And all because you wanted something that you couldn't get when you were a kid way back when. And Christy says it right. I've heard of kids quitting sports because of their parents. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a problem. And
it's an epidemic.
So I think parents got to stop living precariously through their kids and let the kids live their lives. If they want to be a professional athlete, support them for being if they want to pursue being a professional athlete.
Yeah,
if they don't want,
and thankfully, my parents, God bless their souls, they always told me to go after whatever I wanted to go do, and I said I want to be in sports media, be a broadcaster, be an announcer, and they said, yeah, never, don't change your mind, because you're playing sports, and that's obviously where I've been for 17 years of my career and whatnot. Nick, last story for hour 2, my man, but this is another sidebar WNBA story. But of course, Nick, the WNBA felt the need to fine Caitlin Clark a whopping $200 for passing go. I mean, making a social media comment about the league's officiating crew after the first game of the second round versus Vegas. Clark wrote a comment on Instagram posted with a caption about the Fever's elite bench mob by adding a comment that read that the refs could not stop us, followed by a series of crying and laughing emojis. The comment, which Clark later joked about on Twitter, was enough to for the league to fine her the whopping $200. The move has also sparked a debate about the league's relationship with its biggest star player, but also the overall state of officiating in the league. So, Nick, was the league right to fine Caitlin Clark, the MVP for the league, for a very much innocent social media comment? What does it also say, though, about the league's relationship with its star players like Caitlin Clark?
This is dumb. This is so dumb. I mean, and by the way, I said this to you last week, that Bleacher Report got the headline wrong also, where they thought it was her doing it through the Indiana Fever account. No, it was her in her own personal account responding to a Fever post. So if you're going to find someone, find the organization, not her. She was just responding to a post. But seriously, are we just going to keep doing the fines thing in the WNBA? Hey, Kathy, how is that working out for you? Tell me, because so far every player hates you as the commissioner, and if you saw, ironically, the unrivaled posts that are going out on social media that they're announcing the players as this is going on, and more players are being announced to get ahead to unrivaled. Kathy, stop. It's not working. And to say that unrivaled is not a competitor, it's not working. It's not working. Just stop.
Quit while you are ahead. And again, Nick, you know, we talked about Sophie Cunningham being fined for the TikTok she made about the referees. We, of course, Nick, have heard so much about the officiating crews. I think it's ratcheted up in this league probably way more because we have coaches not afraid to say what's on their mind. Players are obviously not afraid to share stuff on the web about the officiating crew. I know, Nick, it's a thankless job being the umpire in baseball or any referee. But, Nick, there's got to be some kind of, thing that the league can do to make the officials better. I think, though, Nick, that Christine Brennan was right, though, when she said that the officiating crews have been awful this whole season for the W.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I don't know how you fix this problem because,
I mean, do you have better training of the officials? Do you start doing more in-season seminars to review controversial plays that set off a coach like a Becky Hammon, for example? Like, what do you need to do, though, to get everybody on the same damn page where games aren't always talked about for the officials, and we're not having Hammon and Stephanie White always barking up the tree about the officials being terrible night in and night out?
I don't know. I mean, maybe get better officiating, maybe.
Something.
I mean, because if the officiating is so bad, you and I were complaining about it during the doubleheader stream we
Game
did
on Tuesdays, yes.
And they missed a clear foul call. I forgot who it was. Was it on Stewie? I think where they hit him in the arm, and they just didn't make a call whatsoever. I mean, holy cow! Like, the officiating is bad.
I mean, every game, though, Nick, we're barking at the tree. We're even getting upset. Like, we have, I mean, obviously, we're going to talk about Novik here in about 30 seconds. But, like, even if we didn't have Novik, we still would be reacting like, how is that a foul? How is that not called a foul? We have players out there like body some each other and it's not called, but then a little like poke, a little touch on the shoulder, foul, 2 shots.
And then, of course, you get the stupid, my favorite report of all time, not really.
The LTMR report.
The last 2-minute report. And I laugh at the NBA when they do it. I laugh at the WNBA when they do it. And I'm just like,
I even think the G League even does it too, I want to say.
And I'm like, what? And I say this to you every single time. What does that accomplish after the fact?
Absolutely nothing except try to get the officials off the hook.
Well, or I love when the officiating, when they get interviewed sometimes after a game, they say, "Oh, I blew the call." And I'm like, okay.
Hey, my team still lost the game.
If you blew the call, and I think I said this to you once before, if a call is admitted to being wrong, or the last 2-minute report admits a call was wrong and it affects the game should go back to the point where the mistaken call was made, and they should finish playing the game.
I agree.
Just saying.
That'll never happen, sadly. All right, Nick, let's get to the top of the hour, my friend, get to the last hour. But more importantly, though, Nick, how about we talk about Novik again?
Yeah, looking for better sports odds? Novik has you covered. With Novik, you always get better prices than traditional sports books. You can even set your own odds to the market. It's the only free exchange, meaning you keep 100% of your winnings. Sign up now with promo code ETB Network, ETBNETWORK, and get 1,000 Novik coins plus $5 in Novik cash to start playing. And if you spend $5, you will get $50 in bonus plays to use for yourself, and you will have a good time. So check it out. Sign up on the Novik app with promo code ETB Network. Spend $5, get $50 in bonus plays.
And if you want the press row parlay, we have a 3-pick parlay at plus 549. We got Philadelphia, the Phillies minus 1.5 over the Marlins, Red Sox plus 1.5 versus Toronto, and the Seahawks minus 1.5 against Arizona. So sign up today. And again, if you have a problem gambling, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. And again, you must be 21 years or older to play. All right, Nick, hour 3 of the show here. And this story, Nick, never goes away. It is now actually on the Mr. Small Market Substack too today. That, of course, is the ongoing saga involving the Clippers. And sports journalist Pablo Torre continues to dig deeper into the ditch. And also, Nick recently called the convoluted Kawhi Leonard saga the defining scandal of Adam Silver's tenure as NBA commissioner. Pablo has continued to investigate the situation involving Leonard signing with the Clippers and the alleged behind-the-scenes dealings, sharing new details that suggest a much larger story than probably first reported. The renewed focus on the saga has raised questions about the league's oversight of player management relationships and the potential for impropriety and high-stakes moves. So, Nick, does the persistent nature of this saga have the potential to damage Silver's legacy as commissioner, as Pablo is suggesting, in your opinion?
1,000%.
Without a doubt.
Hold on one second. Sorry. Just get rid of that.
I mean, I think, Nick, the longer this goes now, to add a bit of like another layer or sidebar, Nick, to the story, there is talk that this entire investigation, Nick, could go all the way to the NBA All-Star Weekend this year in February.
Yeah, I mean, the way this
More importantly, where is the NBA All-Star game this season?
in LA.
It's at Intuit Dome in Inglewood, which last I checked, that's
where the Clippers
home
play.
arena.
Yeah, it's the Clippers home arena.
Interesting.
Now the question you asked was, does this could this affect Adam Silver's legacy? 1,000%. Not even a debate. Because if this is all true, where aspiration, this they're being known as like the tree hugging company,
yeah,
where they're environmental and basically why am I forgetting the owner's name at the moment?
Steve Ballmer.
Steve Ballmer. Oh, I don't know why that name went out of my head. He put like $50 million into this company, and all these issues going on with it, and then they were apparently circumventing the cap to pay Kawhi because he's injured a lot, so that they could avoid the cap number. And now it's all coming out, and I think Ballmer got his hand caught in the cookie jar. And I think we're going to find out something bad from this. If you remember, we talked about the Minnesota situation.
Yes.
And that was a full like money behind the under the table scenario. And that cost them like 5 first-round draft picks and $3 million in fines. And I don't know where this situation is going to go, because this is a lot of money. We're talking about 25, 30, or even more, $40 million.
Exactly.
Being paid through this weird aspiration company, which supposedly like the Red Sox and some other teams had investments in. So they're getting duped in the process, on top of apparently what Steve Ballmer is doing with this company. And apparently they had sponsorship like on the chairs and all this stuff. So there's a lot of weird shit going on with this situation.
Nick, as much as we can, talk about this whole thing, and this was actually in my Substack today about this particular story, but it was more of a grander or longer story about how this team alone has just been snake bit by whatever the problems are. And I want to read a part of the Substack I wrote today that dropped on the Mr. Small Market Substack account today. Because, Nick, I told you, I think, before we came live, I asked my parents earlier this week about what they remembered about when the Clippers were in San Diego. They were here from 78 to 84. really weren't a big draw in town because we were kind of in between, the Padres being good, the Chargers were being good in the 80s and stuff of that nature. But here's what I wrote, though, because I asked him, though, about what do you guys remember? So this paragraph is all I'll read. The San Diego era in particular laid much of the groundwork for what would become the Clippers' reputation. Following their move from Buffalo, the team struggled to establish a strong fan base. Ticket prices were often steep. Star power was limited beyond the occasional standout players of Bill Walton, Tom Chambers, or Lloyd Worldby Free. And casual fans frequently opted to watch the visiting team play the Clippers, like the Lakers, the Celtics, the Knicks, or the 76ers. The franchise's challenges were not just about encore performance, but they also included financial instability, bad management, and a city that never fully embraced the franchise. By the time the Clippers moved to LA in '84, they carried with them a legacy of underachievement and a reputation as the NBA's perennial also-ran franchise. And I went further, Nick, and I think I said this a couple times when we talked about this exact thing. This club, Nick, Michael Olivocandi, Sean Livingston, Benoit Benjamin, Elton Brand, Blake Griffin, Chris Paul. You name all these guys who were brought in to somewhat get this team, somewhere relevant at one point in time. Yeah, they had a great run, though, with Lob City and how Doc Rivers really helped change the culture of the franchise. That was still, though, Nick, the Sterling era, though, where, of course, though, what Adam Silver did do to Donald Sterling and the Clippers organization in 2014. The ban, the multi-million-dollar fine. Ballmer buys the franchise. They stay put in Los Angeles. Then Ballmer has the wild idea, this team needs their own arena, and getting out of the shadow of the Lakers, Kings, and Sparks at Staples Center, now Crypto.com Arena. But it's just another, Nick, it's another chapter, as I wrote, I think, at the very end. This is just another chapter in this beleaguered franchise's history. Though they've had some flashes of promise, in a way, the Clippers and Padres might be tied, in my opinion, because the Clippers were never anything at one point until recently. The Padres were never anything until they've gone to the playoffs now 4 times in 6 seasons. I've never seen that before in my lifetime. But even then, though, the Clippers can never get out of their own way. And I think, though, the longer this goes, the more I get scared if I'm a Clippers fan that, Nick, there's a lot out there of what could be going the way of the Clippers. I'm going to re-pull up what could happen, but the fact, though, that somebody like Steve Ballmer, who I know, Nick, is, I think, the owner any sports fan would want. The energy, the enthusiasm, and really wanting it so bad for the city and for the franchise. But now, though, he's caught up, though, in the middle of the crosshairs of this whole entire thing, along with his star player. I hate to say it, Nick, it's another chapter of this Clippers curse. Please tell me otherwise.
And it's weird because Ballmer kind of reminds, and this is going to sound ironic, but Ballmer reminds me of Mark Cuban in that regard. If you remember when Mark Cuban became the owner of the Mavs, he was that big, like, energy, rah-rah, NBA, would always yell at officials, get fined like $250,000 every time he'd say some disparaging things to the officials. And the weird thing is, in this scenario, Mark Cuban is defending Steve Ballmer. He's been going back and forth with Pablo Torre on Twitter with, like, defense and documents. And I think he had him on, Pablo Torre finds out at one point, and he was, like, defending Steve Ballmer, like, almost like they were personal friends, even though he admits on the podcast that they've never really talked. They're not friendly. But that must be the ownership circle. Like they say in the NFL, like, owners stick together, even if they hate each other. Like, everyone hates the Haslams, who are the owner of the Browns. But it's the ownership group. Everyone defends everybody. So this is a weird situation. I don't know how it's going to resolve, but someone's going to get in trouble some way, somehow, I think.
So a quick update, Nick. The Clippers could be facing the following penalties for circumventing the salary cap, though, through the no-show endorsement deal for Kawhi. If the club is found guilty, the Clippers could face a fine of up to $4.5 million for the first offense and $5.5 million for a second offense. The team could lose one first-round pick, potentially leading to multiple forfeitures in the future. And the league has the right to void the contract of Kawhi Leonard involved in the circumvention scheme. The club has again denied the allegations, but Nick, we saw this once 25 years ago, and who's going to say that it happens again here 25 years later?
And I think the rules are even more stricter because of all the gambling stuff and all the situations they got to be aware of. They can't have this issue where owners are circumventing the cap. That could be affecting how a player plays, or if they want to play, or if they have injuries.
Load management.
So you've got to be very careful with how you handle this stuff because of all the gambling that takes place. There's a record amount of gambling going on now in professional sports. It's insane, the amount of gambling that goes on. We're talking about billions with a B when it comes to gambling. So you got to be very careful because if you circumvent the cap, you're affecting the way a star player plays.
We'll keep an eye on the story. I mean, props to Pablo for digging and digging and digging. But I mean, if this plays out, Nick, and then the verdict comes out like All-Star Game Sunday in Inglewood, and it's like proven guilty, what a nightmare it's going to be for the Clippers.
I don't, even if, let's say, they are not found guilty,
there's still going to be some kind of ripple effect from it.
In the court of public opinion, I just don't see them recovering fully.
I don't think so either.
So they're going to lose one way or the other.
Another chapter for the curse. Please tell me I'm wrong.
You're not.
Nick, let's move on, though, to another media sidebar story. But following the very surprising announcement of Auburn head coach for men's hoops, Bruce Pearl's retirement, it became the subject, though, of a strong rebuke from sports commentator and former ESPN journalist Bomani Jones. Jones, in a very scathing commentary, ripped Bruce Pearl for what he perceived as a sudden and also inexplicable decision. Questioning the timing and circumstances of the departure, the commentary has also reignited a debate about coaches retiring and the often unspoken issues that can lead to a coach walking away from a high-profile job unexpectedly. Nick, was Bomani's critique of Bruce Pearl's retirement fair? And does it also highlight a larger issue in how we view the abrupt departures of college coaches or any high-profile coaches, in your opinion, across maybe pro sports or for college?
This situation spiraled out of control. Big time.
And kind of like out of nowhere, like, okay, Bruce Pearl retired. Why is this a big deal?
And I'm trying to find because Michael Wilbon was the one that spun this out of control. Because I think he called Bruce Pearl intrusive, I think was the word. And it led to a whole thing. Is ESPN resorting back to politics again? And yeah, here, it wasn't intrusive. It was divisive. Divisive was the word. So the quote was, he had become a divisive person, it seems to me intentionally, and I hope there was pressure to get him out.
So is this stemming from his time, for example, at Tennessee, where there was like numerous violations of NCAA rules and protocol, or wherever else he was coaching?
I'm assuming that's probably where it's from, because he's had many violations before. But have we ever heard of second chances in life? I mean, like, I don't know. Wilbon, this is not the first time Wilbon has done this before.
4 different things happened for Bruce Pearl underneath his watch across his time in college coaching.
Okay. Do you have them?
The key violations include the barbecue incident in 2008 while he was coaching at Tennessee. That ring a bell to you?
A little bit, yes.
While the head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers, Bruce Pearl hosted a barbecue at his home where he invited several high school recruits, including Aaron Kraft, to his home, a direct violation of NCAA rules prohibiting off-campus contact with recruits. Pearl denied the visit occurred, but evidence emerged leading to an NCAA investigation, later admitting to lying to investigators, which escalated the situation from a minor infraction to a more serious violation.
Again, this is the stupid thing we're talking about. We can't have a stupid barbecue.
2010, Pearl faced more sanctions from UT, which included a $1.5 million salary reduction over 5 years and restrictions on off-campus recruiting. He was also popped and suspended for the first 8 conference games in that season in 2010-2011. And then the Vols fired him ultimately in March of 2011 after discovering additional infractions and a violation of the school's substance abuse policy by a player on the roster.
Yeah, I mean, this is tough. I mean, but
wait, there's more.
Oh no, what?
Following his dismissal, Pearl also received a 3-year show cause penalty for lying to investigators too at the NCAA, which barred him from engaging in any recruiting activities until August of 2024.
Yes, I do remember that one. Yeah, but first of all, are violations really a thing anymore now with the NIL?
There's one more thing while he was at Auburn.
Oh God, what?
While at Auburn, Bruce Pearl faced further scrutiny due to the involvement of a former assistant coach, Chuck Person, in a corruption scandal. As a result, Auburn was forced to vacate 12 wins in the 16-17 season and placed on 4 years probation beginning in December of 2021 for failing to monitor his assistant coaches. Was also popped 2 games during this period, marking his second NCAA sanctioning in less than 10 years. Okay, I'm done.
I'm not saying what he did was right. Let me be very clear about that. He had a lot of recruiting violations. It reminds me of, and I can't remember the name of the coach who had the DUIs.
Bob Huggins?
Yeah, and he went on the radio and said some pretty offensive things. It was on an AM
Bob
radio.
Huggins at West Virginia.
And he went on an AM radio station and essentially said some pretty homophobic and racist things and didn't help his cause by any means.
No, this is Patrick.
It's amazing that these coaches don't know how to follow NCAA rules and not commit violations. But the Bruce Pearl situation spiraled out of control because of Mike Wilbon. And there are a lot of people saying, like, was this Mike Wilbon playing his political agenda?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Because why even bring it up? Why are you calling him a divisive person? What is the angle you're going for? PTI is not that type of show.
No, never has been.
Since when did PTI become like a bad version of Around the Horn, where it became too political? Like, first of all, I think that's why Around the Horn eventually went off the air, because it became too political.
Maybe.
Well, think about the panelists they use more often on Around the Horn. It was a lot more politically based and not enough about the sports of stuff.
Fair.
And I feel like at times Wilbon goes that direction and it causes an issue because we use sports to get away from politics. That's what we do. You think we love talking about politics on this show? No.
Absolutely not. I dread it.
But unfortunately, when people say dumb things, that's part of our job as a sports media.
Into the sports media or sports world in general, we have to talk about it, sadly.
So when you do dumb shit and you say dumb things, it's going to get talked about because you... And by the way, Wilbon's been in the business for...
Too damn long.
God knows. Probably 30 to 40 years probably now. You would think you would know what you're saying could get you in trouble. And it makes me laugh sometimes when some of these guys who've been in the business forever say, well, I was just giving my thoughts. Were you?
Yes.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Bruce Pearl is not an angel. Let's be very clear about that. Most people in sports are not perfect.
No.
But we got to be fair at the same time.
Precisely.
Just because you don't like the way someone thinks doesn't mean it makes them wrong.
Bingo. Spot on. Nick, let's move on now to the NBA. A couple of teams have unveiled some sweet-looking throwbacks. The 76ers are going to bring back the famed black and gold Allen Iverson 2001 Finals-era team black and gold uniforms, while the Timberwolves bring back the iconic Kevin Garnett all black with the trees look on them for the upcoming season. Both teams announced that the jerseys and the playing courts will be worn for a number of games throughout the season. So, Nick, with teams increasingly bringing back nostalgia or throwback jerseys, is this a smart marketing ploy or a sign that the creativity of sports uniform design has stalled? Where I think, Nick, the NBA is guilty of this by having every team wear 8 different uniforms every season.
This is a fun debate you like to have a lot.
Can I just say my line real quick?
Yes.
Jersey sales won't win either team a game this season, but I love the old school look for both teams.
That's a good point.
But maybe some creativity in the NBA has died, sadly.
But you know what, though? I miss the old tree jerseys for the Timberwolves. The even though people thought it was a terrible looking color, like this dark purplish black blue color, I loved it. It was nostalgia to me.
It screams Kevin Garnett. It screams a 56-win season, like the high point of their club until recently.
That was before Kevin Garnett left to the Celtics for greener pastures, no pun intended.
That
one actually worked for a change. Anyway, but that was at the time when fans were getting annoyed because the Timberwolves never made it anywhere. Like, I'm trying to think of the players. Like, I think Cassell was on that team at one point. Oliver Candy is another name that stands out to me for that team. Spreewell, another one.
Tree Spreewell.
Yeah, talk about a blast from the past, right?
Holy cow, yes.
They had so many good players, they could just never put it together. And those jerseys were awesome. Like, it was such a great authenticity.
Yeah, it was. By the way, the roster for that team, led by the legendary head coach Phil Saunders, God bless his soul.
Yes.
Sam Cassell, Kevin Garnett,
Yes.
Nadui Eby, Garnett, Trenton Hassel, Fred Hoiberg, Troy Hudson, Irvin Johnson, Mark Madsen, Derek Martin, Oliver Miller, Michael Olowokandi, Latrice Spreewell, Wally Zerbiak, and Gary Trent.
Holy cow.
That was the real apex.
Wow. What names? Man.
But of course, Spreewell had baggage after he choked out PJ Carlesimo when he was playing against the Warriors the year prior.
PJ. Oh, man. He's calling games for ESPN now, ESPN Radio.
Mm-hmm. That and then, the 76ers, though, Nick, when they went to like the copper gold and the black and the light blue, it didn't really feel right that they weren't wearing the red, white, and blue that made them so famous again with what the name represents. I love their G League affiliate in Delaware, whose nickname is the Blue Coats to, Revolutionary War. It was just very weird that they would break away from the color palette that we all know them for. Red, white, and blue, 76ers, 1776, USA.
Yes.
For something new, the very weird and big 76 on the star, the streaking basketball, the stars being along the floor, how the circle was navy, that the center circle was blue with the word mark around, and they had the streaking basketball around the sides of the floor. So it felt weird that they broke tradition, but it still is the last time that the Sixers were even in the finals in franchise history.
I mean, the ABA jerseys for the Nets, I think the same thing.
Oh, yes.
Like, those jerseys were incredible way back when, the red, white, and blue.
Nets running down beside.
Oh, man. And then, like, the Nets, right? Like, the font.
Yes.
I mean, those were the day.
Good times.
Now the jerseys are just shitty and awful.
Well, I
in my
mean,
opinion.
I hate to say it, but the Nets probably have the most bland and boring color palette and uniforms in the whole league.
It's like that black and white, simplistic jersey, which no one really cares about. I remember, what was it? The bluish, powderish purple, like with the red letters. I think
Yeah.
that was the Vince Carter, Jason Kidd, and
Kmart era.
Kmart, Richard Jefferson era. Those jerseys were amazing. Like now, I feel like they don't try at all.
That's where I think, Nick, that the NBA has gotten it wrong, that every team's got so many uniforms in the closet, for one thing. And
then
also that
and then they try to bring them back for no reason.
it just makes no sense.
How many
I don't.
freaking jerseys do you need during the year?
My main thing is tradition needs to stay the same. I don't want the Lakers wearing purple at Staples Center. I don't want the Celtics wearing black at TD Garden. I don't want Golden State not wearing white at home. Like, certain elements need to stay the same and not change because, well, it's this jersey. Oh, you earned this jersey for getting to the post. Stop it. STOP.
You said it during one of the games we were watching that you thought it was weird. Which game was it that you said they weren't wearing the traditional jersey at home? I think it was it
the Lakers probably?
No. The WNBA doubleheader we watched the other night. You said that you thought someone wasn't wearing their home jersey. Well, who were the home team? So it was the Aces.
Aces and maybe the Lynx, because I was so used to them wearing blue at home and not black.
That's what you said. You thought it was odd that they were not wearing the home jerseys, right?
Yeah.
So I don't, and the dumb superstition stuff's got to stop, please. Like,
there is superstition.
So you're just gonna wear your away jersey at home? Like, what is that? That's weird.
Yeah, like, again, the Lakers not wearing gold at home is not right. The Celtics not wearing the white at home with the green letters is not right. I don't like that they've brought black in their color palette, or the Lakers adding black to their color palette.
Do you know how weird it would have been? Wait, was the 81-point game at home?
Yeah, the Lakers played Toronto.
Can you imagine if he wasn't wearing the gold?
They didn't because
oh wait, they wore the white. They wore
Sunday
the white.
Sunday white for
but
Chick
still,
Hearn.
It would have been weird if if he was wearing the purple, doing that at home.
And I feel like that may have been when the Raptors began to phase out the purple in their color palette, and they became silver, red, and white.
Yes,
and black.
Yes, that was like fairly in the beginning.
I think they began to change the color palette around that time.
But at least like the one time, because you said right, because they wear the Sunday whites. I forgot about that.
But now they don't even wear them now on Sundays anymore. It's ridiculous.
But as long as they wear the gold at home, it's fine.
Yeah.
But like tradition is gone. Like tradition in sports is gone. Like whatever sport it is.
And by the way, I think with the Kraken adding that new black alternate jersey, 16. So half of the NHL has a black uniform in their closets already.
That's odd.
That's a bit much.
That's odd. Like, and then all these promotional crap jerseys that they come up with that they wear sometimes also. Like
what, the city editions in baseball and basketball?
Yeah, like some of them just don't work. Like, what is it? The Red Sox have like a yellow
and powder blue that looks like UCLA for the Boston Marathon. Now they have the Green Monster.
At least the Green Monster is on brand. And I guess I get it because they do it for that one game, the 11 o'clock game that they do every year for
Boston Marathon.
Obviously for the Boston Marathon, but it still looks odd.
It's like, it's like I'm watching UCLA play.
Right. And I'm not trying to insult them because I know that was a horrible day in the history. I'll never forget it. I remember I was at LIU and I turned the radio on because I listened to ESPN, and I remember the ABC reports infiltrating my local ESPN station. So I'll never forget the day. But come on, like UCLA colors.
And I know a lot of people, did not like the Padre colors initially, but they've grown on me because it's supposed to represent the cross-border community of San Diego and Tijuana, Baja California, which is the pink, the green, the yellow.
Yeah, I didn't get it at first, but now I kind of do because I know what they were trying to go for, but I didn't get the color scheme at first.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people didn't. It's grown on me, for example, but it's actually supposed to resemble the colors of the flamenco or traditional dancers. They wear these very beautiful dresses, but they have all those colors in them in their hands sewn. So it's what it's supposed to look like on top of the beach, the sunset, and
Yes.
San Diego, Tijuana, Baja California is, I think, the one of the biggest cross-border communities, not named Detroit and Windsor, Ontario, Canada.
What was the other oh, the Padre jersey that used to stand out to me. What was it? The brownish one. I remember a more darker brown the Padres used to wear. I have a card. It's in the book over there. I can't get it at the moment. Like when Kevin Kuzminoff was on the team.
Yeah.
I remember because they used to well, I don't know if they still have the bluish ones that they had.
Not anymore.
But I remember like a kind of like light darkish brown that they used to wear. That was San Diego Padres to me.
And people are happy that they went back to the brown and gold 5 years ago.
That one. Yes.
Yeah.
Those when I used to watch San Diego Padres, that was the one I remember. Like I almost don't recognize it today a little bit. Cuz I grew up in baseball just like you did. I remember those jerseys. Like I'm trying to remember so people crap on the Yankees because they don't have the names on the back.
Tradition.
Okay. That's what the Yankees did for their whole existence. I think it would be odd.
Think about how long the Dodgers and Giants didn't even do that at home until the Giants had one of the kids of one of the owners, I think, say, I don't know who's on deck because I don't know what his last name is on the back of the home jersey.
I mean, but you could look up at the scoreboard for that, though.
They end up making the move because of it, believe it or not.
Well, I think some teams started doing it because of that dumb players weekend thing that they did.
Oh yeah, that was awful.
Where they would put the nicknames on the back of it.
So stupid. It was awful.
Was Rob commissioner at that point or no?
Yes, he was.
Also, was that a dumb idea on his part? That's par for the course.
Exactly. Nick, back to college athletics and basketball. The Big Ten officially announced over the weekend that the men's basketball tournament will expand to include all 18 teams for the conference championship this season. The move, which was dubbed a coach's decision per the Big Ten Network, means that no team will now be left out of the field to play at Chicago's United Center. The change ensures that all the schools will have a chance to earn the automatic bid for the conference and to get into March Madness. Nick, is it a good idea for the Big Ten to expand the men's basketball field to 18 teams, or does it also, in a way, devalue the regular season?
So you and I started to talk about this the other night. To me, I don't see an issue with it. I think that and I think if I said this, remind me if I said this the other night, but this is like the NBA for some guys that are not going to make the league. So this allows them to kind of showcase themselves, or maybe some people that were not as recognized get noticed by NBA scouts in that regard. And maybe if they play well, this is their championship, their final.
Yes.
Their college, their national championship, to say, wow, if I put on a good performance, maybe I have more of a chance than I realized of going to the NBA. Am I going to be the next LeBron or Jordan? No, but maybe I get to have a long career, like some guys that just stay in the league for 18 years, like 17, 18 years, and they might bounce around to 2 or 3 teams, but who cares? Like, as long as they have a long career, they can make a decent living out of going to the NBA. So I think this is a home run. The only time I don't think it works is like in a Major League Baseball or an NFL.
Pro sports would never go this route.
Well, NFL already did. Like now they're adding another wild card. I mean, so
7 teams now, yeah.
Like half the league now makes the playoffs in the NFL. Like
exactly.
That's insane. In Major League Baseball, they're close to half the league making the playoffs. So that's bad.
The NHL's at 8.
Eventually, when you put half the league in, you're going to hit a shit team at some point.
And then MLS has 9 make it for each conference. So 9 of the 15 make it, but 8 versus 9 is a single game knockout.
That's still too many. Like, these single games that they were playing, does it? In my opinion, it shouldn't count as a playoff game. So what? You made the one game playoff. Is that really an official playoff game? No.
No, I don't think so. I mean, look, I'm all for, especially Nick, though, in college hoops. Probably because I work in the West Coast Conference, and we have always, to my knowledge, have been a conference that brings every school in because we rely on basketball for our moolah and our money. We're not a football conference.
Right.
We are a basketball conference. So as far as I can remember, we always have had everyone qualify for the tournament, though they've had some weird, wonky bracket setups, like the number one finishing team gets like a quadruple round bye. Number two, it's like a 3-round bye, and it goes and goes and goes and goes.
Too complicated. Too complicated.
It's complicated, but at the end of the day, though, it's to your point, though. Who's not to say that a majority of these guys don't make the NBA because they might go to a Big Ten university, but they probably flame out. They get injured. They want to pursue their career, for example, or they maybe get an invite after the draft if they're undrafted and they don't make the NBA roster. They go and play overseas. I think, though, that honestly, I think every conference, men's and women's, should both go this route, because who's not to say, though, that if you leave out somebody, they may get hot. I mean, you never know what that 18th team might do. Yeah, the record may suck in the regular season, but what if they do kind of, in a way, turn the switch and get hot and start knocking people out and along the way? Where I think, Nick, it adds, I think, to like the tradition and the pageantry of what we love about March Madness. Like San Diego State playing UConn for the national title. Who out there saw that coming? Florida Gulf Coast, Loyola Chicago, all these other like small universities, Mr. Small Market, yes, but Mr. Mid-Major College too over here. Who's not to say, though, that like somebody like that cannot go on a run? What if LIU does that in some way, shape, form, or size? I know that you'd be going bananas if that happened.
Oh, well, we were fortunate when I was there. I mean, the stupid thing that we were split into LIU Post and LIU Brooklyn at the time, which made no sense. But we played fairly well. The only reason that we didn't advance much further is because when you get to the top end of Division I in football, we got crushed by, I think it was either Virginia or somebody. So we didn't stand a chance traveling up to Virginia and winning. College basketball, it's a little different because you're going to get some small market stories. Think about Steph Curry before he became what he was.
University.
Davidson. I'm trying to think of a few others, to be honest, because I can't think off the top of my head, but that's the one that stands out to me. Because Steph Curry was not supposed to be much.
No.
And then they went on that incredible run. I think they made, the Elite Eight, I think?
Yeah.
And that changed the story of Steph Curry in a major way. He went from being, not drafted in the first round to, I think, at the top.
Yeah.
And look what Steph Curry's become.
Because the Wolves picked Johnny Flynn over Curry's sprained ankles.
That kind of reminds me of Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf. If you think about it, where everyone said, "Oh, well, Peyton Manning's not going to be whatever, and Ryan Leaf's going to be the next amazing quarterback." He flames out, his career ends, and bad memories.
Don't remind me.
But my
the
point
team may be in LA, but I still live with those moments though when they were here.
Oh no, I know. But with college, with college basketball, it's a lot easier to sometimes be a Cinderella story.
Yes,
and get where you are. In the NFL, it's nearby impossible unless you're Tom Brady, who gets drafted in the 6th round and somehow magically becomes a all-time great. But those stories are far and few between.
I mean, who would have thunk it, though?
It's true. I mean, college basketball is easier than college football. I'm just going to say that.
1,000 times over. All right, Nick, into press clippings to wrap up the day. Let's first, Nick, before we actually get to press clippings, we do have a 3-leg parlay courtesy of Novig going on this evening.
Yes. Whether you want to play for fun or for cash, Novig makes it possible. Trade Novig coins to hone your strategies or play with Novig Cash for rewards and real prizes. They cover 13 sports from MLB, NFL, NBA, NHL, and soccer to UFC, golf, the Ryder Cup, and college sports. Download Novig today. Use code ETB Network. That's ETBNETWORK, and get rewarded with exclusive sign-up bonuses. Spend $5, get rewarded with $50 in plays to make your bets now.
Let's do it. Get on board, folks. Yeah, I mean, there is like 3 or 4 different sign-up bonuses you can get when you do sign up on Novig. So go ahead and get moving there. All right, Nick, press clippings time here. We'll get out of here for the day. This one, Nick, is interesting. Rumors now are circulating that Netflix is considering making a bid to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery, which would mean it would be a massive game changer in the entertainment industry. The potential deal would give Netflix a massive library of films and shows, plus as well a new revenue stream for WBD cable networks. Oh, boy.
This one shocked me. Now, this is just rumor and speculation right now. We don't know anything that's going on with this, but if WBD ends up in Netflix's home, that's going to lead to more sports rights being on Netflix.
I mean, true, but I mean,
it's not good, is what I'm
all
saying.
Over the place now. It's like I wrote, though, in the Substack on Tuesday about the NFL or the NBA entering this new national media spotlight. You're going to have to make a Google Sheet document to chart where everything is so you know where to watch every given game day.
Think about the story we talked about in college football, where you needed like 28 different networks to watch the full college football slate.
28 different stations to watch a college football game.
And that includes YouTube and other digital platforms, but still, like 28 networks. I remember, and I'm about to make us both feel old, but I remember ABC, CBS, NBC, like, hello. Like, I didn't need anything else. ESPN. I don't need anything else. Now I need, I can't even count, like all the plus networks.
Don't even try, because your head's going to explode like a scanner.
Exactly. So, what do I think about this? Well, first of all, Warner Brothers Discovery did themselves a disservice when they effed up the NBA deal. And now they had a license inside the NBA over to ESPN just to save face. I mean, the only reason they'd be doing this is because they're desperate and they have no idea to satisfy the shareholders at that point.
Too much is all I can say. Nick, the Canelo Alvarez and Tyson Bud Crawford boxing match on Netflix drew at least a top audience of 41 million viewers worldwide, a record for a men's championship boxing match this century. The numbers, though, showcase the immense power of streaming platforms for live events, though some of the industry caution against the numbers as direct comparisons with Nelson ratings. Okay.
So it was a record fight. Now, it wasn't all 41 million. It was probably about 38 million of the 41 watched the main event, which is still amazing.
Oh, it's a lot, even though the start time was like, what, after midnight East Coast time?
It was like, no, it was closer to like 2 a.m.
Holy.
So, yeah, because, and Zan and Tom both made a really good point, and Jack made a really good point about this. There was 5 fights on the whole card. It wasn't like a UFC card where they sometimes have the prelims, and you're talking about 5-6 hours on a UFC card.
Yeah, and it was a 5-fight main event
boxing
card.
I'm guessing. Yeah, this was a Netflix boxing card, 5 fights. It took like 5.5 hours, 6 hours. That's ridiculous.
That's awful.
And all the pageantry, which nobody cares about. Stop with the celebrities. And because it was on Netflix, they had to over promote. So they had all of these big name from Hollywood like in the crowd, so they would like make them wave to the camera because they have a Netflix special or some movie coming out on Netflix. And you had Mario Lopez hosting it, which made no sense whatsoever.
Oh, he was in a show called Saved by the Bell, which is a boxing term.
Yeah, and well, apparently he hosts a boxing podcast, which I didn't know.
I didn't even know about that.
I mean, I have to look that up now because I don't even remember. Let's see, Mario Lopez.
I swear, if it's named after Saved by the Bell.
We're doing this in live time, people. Deal with it.
It'd be a missed opportunity.
Okay, so it's called the 3 knockdown rule.
How do you not use Saved by the Bell?
Seriously.
That's horrible, Mario. Come on.
Unless it's a like rights thing.
Trademark.
But technically there's different rules like where you could like trademark something for a TV show and differently for a radio show. I'm going in the weeds too much. But I think they did a decent job with the actual coverage. It was nice seeing Max Kellerman back on TV for the first time since
Finally
being laid off from ESPN. He was being paid. So he was paid to go away for a while. But he is going to be doing a show on DAZN for boxing, which is his alley. That's what he was.
He's back, baby.
He did Max on boxing for ESPN, and he was doing a bunch of other stuff. He did the national morning show for ESPN Radio for the longest time. That show was a bust. That was like Keyshawn, Jay Will, and Max. It was a terrible show. But
Elsnick Granderson.
yes. Oof. But I'm happy for him. I think he deserves to be back on TV somewhere or digitally. But too much. The Mad About segment from Mad Dog was perfect about this. I'm not going to watch the freaking fight at 2 a.m. I have a freaking golf time to go to next morning. And some people had school and work the next morning.
Yeah, it was awful. Like I heard it was awful for the fact of like 2 a.m. for the final fight to start.
And then they had to do all the walkout with all the international music and all that stuff. And I'm like, come on, guys, enough. Just stop. Way too much. But it was a great fight. Crawford wins. He's the first to hold 4 belts in 4 different classes also.
Unreal.
So
Incredible.
I think the outcome was what everybody wanted, even though Canelo was undefeated going in. I think he was like 63-0 or something going into it.
Something insane like that.
But for the most part, they got it right. The pageantry was just dumb.
Nick, the new NCAA revenue sharing model goes into effect with a $20.5 million salary cap per school, but many athletic departments are now finding workarounds. Nick, this also goes to a thing called the SCORE Act. I think we may have talked about this on the show, I want to say.
Yeah.
This was interesting, though, today. Ross Dellinger wrote a story today. This week in Chicago, power conferences and the 10 non-FBS leagues who formed a coalition, I should say, requesting amendments to the SCORE Act made progress on a compromise that would see changes to the legislation related to governments and D1 membership standards. This included the West Coast Conference, A10, Big Sky, Big West, Horizon League, Metro Atlantic, Ohio Valley, Southern, Summit League, and the WAC, who have all engaged with the Aligned Government Services, or AGS, to lobby for our interest pertaining to the SCORE Act. Your thoughts?
I mean, I'm surprised this didn't come sooner. Because schools that are bigger could spend more money. I mean, look at Alabama and LSU and look at their NIL budgets. It's insane the amount of money that they get.
Craziness.
The problem is though, that this is turning into professional sports again, where are you going to have a rule though? Like say, even though you have a cap, are you allowed to spend over it, but are you going to get penalized for spending over it?
Like a luxury, like the luxury tax in baseball, for example.
But the problem is you can't do that because there's hundreds of thousands of college football teams.
Right.
So what are you going to do? You're going to break that up into like 1,000th and give it to everybody if they're over? Like, you can't do that. There's no way to do that. So I guess this actually makes sense for fair competition that every team has to abide by $20.5 million. But if you read what you wrote there, which is many athletic departments are finding workarounds, they're building their own production to spend and do it their own way. Now,
precisely.
I don't know what the rules are for the cap. Like if it's hard and they can't do other things, like are they allowed to go set up other things if they spend the money?
Right.
But I like this rule because that means bigger schools now have to stay in line with the other schools, which was already happening because smaller schools were spending more money than some of the other schools. They would desperately throw everything they have and they would get a player.
Nick, finally today for the show, a story that 6 Wofford basketball players were declared ineligible for improper benefits was widely circulated across the web, but wound up being false. And it was like not even that much of a harmless offense either, was it?
Yes. So I think this was the story where they said they got impermissible benefits, but it was only like $84, if I'm not mistaken. Which, if you're gonna go after students for $84, we have an issue then. Um, so Jeff Goodman, who has covered the sport for a very long time for ESPN, for CBS, and now he's I forgot the name of the thing, House of 64 or whatever it's called.
Field of 68.
Field of 68. Thank you. Field of 68, which is very successful brand. It's done very well. I think John Fanta does some stuff for that too.
Yes.
This is not the first time Jeff Goodman has gotten information wrong before. So he's the one who did the reporting on it. The NCAA, if I'm not mistaken, came out and made a statement and said, we don't know what you're talking about. It never happened. So this is now the classic game of chicken. Who's right and who's wrong?
Oh.
And I'm trying to find the statement because I think it's important. But I'll see if I can find it while we're sitting here. But they were animate, if I remember, saying that we deny all the wrongdoing. Oh, here it is. NCAA issued a statement on September 18th on Twitter, refuting reports that it had suspended 6 Wolford men's basketball players or ruled them ineligible for minor impermissible benefits. Because if I remember correctly, Jeff Goodman said that they were ineligible, which was not the case. And that's a dangerous statement to make if you don't have the proper sources to prove it. The NCAA clarified it did not take action against the students or personnel, contradicting earlier reports from the Field of 68. The events surrounding the players' potential ineligibility and the subsequent dismissal of coaches were a Warford athletics and personal matter, not a direct NCAA enforcement action.
Correct.
So, come on, Jeff, do better, please.
Yeah, I mean, get it first, get it right, but that...
It also says reports emerged in mid-September 2025 from the Field of 68 claiming that 6 Warford men's basketball players were declared ineligible by the NCAA for receiving approximately $84 to $108 in impermissible benefits from using the campus meal plan while living off campus. How is that an impermissible benefit? If you're a student, it shouldn't matter if you're on or off campus. If you're a student, you get a meal plan. Right?
Exactly. You would think so.
Warford Athletics apparently considered the players ineligible over a housing and meal plan issue, which led to the team's former head coach, Dwight Perry, being fired. The NCAA statement explicitly denied suspending the players or imposing any disciplinary actions against the players or the athletic department personnel. The NCAA confirmed it did not have jurisdiction over the school's decision to take disciplinary action against its own staff for such minor issues. Okay, so Jeff Goodman got this severely wrong.
I mean, he's not even he's nowhere near the target whatsoever.
And it also says the players involved were ultimately reinstated.
Yes.
So, what the hell, Jeff? Like,
come on, man.
Like, this is not the first time you've inaccurately reported an issue before. So, like you just said, I know the whole journalistic thing, get it first, get it right. Like, or what is the saying exactly? I can't remember.
Get it first, but get it right.
Or they say, well, the idea is to get it first. Okay, get it first, but be accurate. If you're going to be wrong and look like an idiot afterwards, was it really worth getting it first?
Yes.
And people say, you know how hard it is to be an Adam Schefter or a Sham Charania or a Woj back in the day. Like
Chris Mortensen, Sean Salisbury.
It's hard to be an insider. People don't get it. If they're wrong by one iota, their reputation is on the line.
All the time.
So be careful if you're going to report news, because if you're wrong, it bites you in the ass like it did for Jeff Goodman. But because he runs his own operation, there's no issues anymore because he runs his own thing.
Exactly. Well, Nick, let's put a bow on episode 17 of Press Row. As a reminder, gang, be sure to follow us on social media. We're at ETB Network on Twitter, IG, and TikTok. And smash the subscribe button over at youtube.com/ETB Network. Nick, any closing thoughts for the afternoon/early evening?
No, this was a good show. We got a lot of good stories in. What's our plan for next week so we can let people in?
What are we going to be doing this next week? I think we're going to be going again on Thursday. Probably going to try to keep it in the afternoon. If not, we'll have to do it in the evening. We'll see.
I'm all for this time. I kind of like this time better. Oh, you said Thursday, October 2nd. Okay. So I guess we're doing Thursday, October 2nd.
Yep. We're just waiting. I'm just kind of doing this to see what time's going to work best.
So hopefully
Right
that all works out. But I guess that wraps up the episode 17. Another one in the books. Just for kind of scheduling sake, just in case people are wondering, because we're planning ahead, because we're, believe it or not, heading for the end of the year
already.
Obviously, we'll be looking into our scheduling, and we might have some small conflicts here and there, just your busy schedule. Because your busy seasons are now in. So we're doing our best, but that's how we work in this business. We work hard to make everyone's schedules work.
Yes, we do.
That's how we survive in this field.
Survive in advance, baby.
But yeah. So basically, the way it'll work is we'll do most of. If he's not here, right, we have either Zan or Nick D. Nick D handles the media stuff well, as you do. So we have plenty of people in case you have a conflict with your schedule. Probably won't do a Thanksgiving week show, probably. Depending, or we might do it earlier that week.
Yes.
And then our network schedule ends on December 14th. So we'll do one last show, I think. What was it, that week? I think.
Yes.
And that'll be a longer show because that's going to be kind of a 2025 year in review for sports media. A lot of interesting stories.
So much to unpack over the course of the year. It's crazy.
So, and we'll have some teasers in that episode for some stuff we're looking into for next year, including some new programming and some new social media along the way. So it's been nice having this show, you getting to revive, having a Press Row back, and you and I think really hit this show and really got it up and running, and now look forward to January also as well.
Stay tuned, gang. But again, for Nick Morgeson and for Callum McClurg here from Southern California, we'll see you all again for Press Row next Thursday. Again, time to be determined right now because, again, scheduling can change for yours truly here in San Diego when it comes to events.
Yeah, the scheduling is heavy. We're doing a lot of stuff here now, too, which is great. Thanks to Novig as well, really jumping aboard and helping us grow and thrive, which is nice. Make sure you use our promo code ETB Network, $5, get 50 bonuses, which is nice. And it helps us grow so we can do more things here. What I can announce also, which I forgot, and they actually Playback did me a service for a change. The Ryder Cup is now up on Playback.
Hey!
So they put up multiple dates for Ryder Cup. So Ben, if you're listening right now, because I saw you in here before, the Ryder Cup is available starting tomorrow. And I'll have to look at the times. I know Saturdays was early. By the way, that's in my neck of the woods, right in Bethpage,
New
Long
York.
Island. I've been to that course when they had, I saw Tiger Woods play there, actually. We were following him, but it was a rainy, swampy day. I'll never forget it. It was a lot of walking.
You never will forget it.
Yeah. But, so we'll try to, Ben said he wanted to do some Ryder Cup, so we'll try to get that in over the next couple days. I was surprised that they put Ryder Cup up on here. I was like, whoa, a request that worked. Now if they can only get hockey.
Eventually. With that in mind, though, folks, for Nick Morgeson and Cal McClurg saying good day / good night. We'll see you again next Thursday back here on ETB. Brought to you by Playback